Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another Last Cloudia stream or video whenever you're seeing this. So, today, it's quite interesting again. We've got the summer event is starting today, well it has started. So, we have Summer Labyreth that we're going to be covering as the main focus of this stream, but as you know, this also has every other summer unit and arc available, and there's some Redux banners and a couple of tickets and stuff that's going on, so there's a good amount of things that's going on in this update. I think it's continuing the 7 million download celebration. Part 2 started today, which is nice because there's some quite good promos going on right now. And the summer event, I always feel like the summer event's pretty good in this game. What I mean by that mostly is the actual event itself has some stories, got a world map, it usually has pretty good rewards in it, and basically every single year with the summer unit it's always a female summer unit, and you know how that goes. But yeah, today gonna cover everything like we normally do. Let's first start this off having a look at the news, seeing everything that's in this update, and then we'll start talking about the new units and the arc. I do want to cover the Redux stuff as well, but I don't want to go super in-depth with every single unit because that would take way too long. But there is also a new insight unit that has been added today for one of the summer units, so I definitely want to have a look at that and showcase that later on as well, just so people are aware of if this unit is any good and stuff like that. So let's first start this off with looking at the news and seeing exactly everything that has been added in this update, because I feel like there is a good amount of things going on right now. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of banners, as you can see. Most of them are paid banners, honestly. But, so let's go to the maintenance notice first and just have a quick look at everything that's in this update. So obviously we've got a shift form of Labyreth, summer version of Labyreth, looks pretty cool. And we've got a new LR arc. I got to say it, they keep teasing me with this. We keep getting arcs with like Melee and Lily. We've got a Christmas arc with Melee and Lillian, and now we've got summer arc with Melee and Lillian as a summer version, and they're just teasing me because I would really like to have a, you know, a summer or Christmas version of Lily at some point. That they just keep teasing me and putting her on arcs and not releasing the unit, kind of annoying, but let's hope it happens eventually. So, Sea Princess Lilah, she has a new insight which I'll be looking at later today. It seems decent. I feel like it's pretty similar to Saintly Theria in a way, because they both seem like similar type of units with being a hybrid support slash mage type of unit. So, and they both provide SET to the entire team as well, so they're kind of similar a little bit. And they both have traits that increase their attack damage by 120%, so they're kind of a little bit similar. But I do want to have a look at her a bit later on today and showcase her and see what that's like, because that could be interesting. And she might have some potential, because if you haven't seen, Saintly Theria can be pretty damn strong in PvP, so when you build her insight, she ends up being quite a strong unit in Arena, and she can sometimes destroy entire teams when you built her correctly with a bunch of SC and stuff. So maybe Sea Princess Lilah could do something similar, but I don't know. Gonna have to wait and see on testing. And then the 7 million downloads celebration, so the part 2 of this has now been released today, which is very nice because there are some good stuff going on with this event. And I do like this promo, because free stuff is always great to have. So get present distribution today, the part 3 free daily spin part 2 gacha released today, all UR slots, one you are not held guaranteed banner, but that is paid crystals by the way, I think. And then boosted crest drop promo. This is the one that I'm mostly excited about, because the tries will have been refreshed to 20, so make sure to use all those, and it doubles the amount of crest that drop in the Battlegraph Simulator. So make sure to start pushing Battlegraph Simulator if you haven't already, because all tries have been refreshed and there's a double drop rate. Well, it drops double the amount of crests every single time, so make sure to do that. It's going to be quite important if you care about crests, which you should do, because they do they are quite significant in the boost that they can provide to your units, so I do recommend to at least try to progress in those. And the multiplayer first team up bonus has been reset, which means there's another about 6,000 crystals or so you can get from doing multiplayer. So make sure, if you need any more crystals, well, everyone should, make sure to do multiplayer today and try and get every single crystal that you can from there. It's a maximum of like 6,100 or something, but just make sure to do that at some point. Just be aware that they have reset this, so just make sure to do some multiplayer to get those down crystals. And then we got the new event, which I like this event. I like these types of events in particular because they have a world map and some story to it, and the rewards look pretty good. It's got the present boxes again, and those in the past have been pretty damn strong, but I haven't done too much of it yet. I've just farmed enough to get the tickets for the banner, and then kind of used all my orb recoveries and then stopped there, so I haven't really looked too much into those boxes yet. But I know for a fact that if you can get some of those miraculous presents, there's a chance you can get some like God Relic Prism Shards and stuff like that, which are obviously very good materials to get if you manage to get any of them. So I think this could be quite a good event to farm for like everyone, so make sure to do this because it's going to be pretty good. And obviously we've got unit test play quest like normal. The Temple of Transmutated Gear has now been updated to include a new equipment. I honestly haven't seen this yet, so I do kind of want to have a look at that if I remember, which I might not because I probably won't, honestly, but I want to have a look at what the new equipment is, because this stage, not a lot of players do this because this just requires a hell of a lot of energy to get an equipment maxed out from this event. So most players don't do this because it's just not worth it for the amount of energy that you use. Like, it's a lot. So I would hope it's something useful, and it would be nice if it was like a dark axe for, you know, the Demon Lord guy. Would be cool, because I kind of want one of those. Trials of the Summoned Beasts is back, and obviously a bunch of gachas, which we'll have a look at in a moment. It's obviously got the normal gacha for the new unit and the new arc, which are, they're both limited, and they are not going to be Descent of Heroes limited. So if this is your first time being in this game for a summer event, summer units in this game are limited, which means they are a lot more difficult to get. They're not as accessible as Descent of Heroes units are. So these will get a rerun in a year from now, which is a hell of a long time. But it is guaranteed to get a rerun at least sometime in the future. So it's at least more accessible than collabs for sure, but just it still kind of sucks that it's limited. There is a ticket gacha, which is nice. The step up gacha looks pretty decent because it's got a cheap step 1, and then the step 2 has a couple of cheap ones as well. So I'm definitely going to be doing some of that, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. And then a bunch of other gachas as well. This is for the Redux, so these two have all of the rerun units and arcs in them. I do want to have a brief look at all of these just to kind of make sure everyone's aware of what you should be looking for and what is worth getting, because I also want to check every single one of these arcs just to remind myself of what exactly they have, because I only have one of these limited arcs out of all of them, so I might want to try and get a couple of these maybe, because I feel like some of these could be pretty damn useful. But I will talk more about these Redux units and arcs when we get to it later on. But for now, don't worry about it yet. But these are limited banners, so I'm going to have a look at them later on. And then guaranteed unit not held. This is 3,000 paid crystals. You can get any of these units that you don't have already. I mean, it's not worth doing this at all unless you're missing 1 or 2 of the units that you want. Like, Surreal Emperor Nael is definitely the best summer unit out of all of these. Changed my mind. It's either Nael or Sarah. Those two are the most useful ones. Maybe Lilah, potentially, and I know Sevia can be a decent DPS, but she's kind of a bit old at this point because she's been out for like an entire year or so now. So, but I still feel like Nael's my favorite one out of all of these units, and she still feels like the most useful unit to have on most players' account, I think. So that would be the one unit I would look for. And then obviously we've got all the arcs in here as well. They're available in slots of 1 to 9, but they're not going to be guaranteed or anything because they probably don't even have a rate up, I would expect. And then you've got the same thing for the limited arcs, so 3,000 paid crystals, get 1 guaranteed arc if you don't have. Again, the same case, don't do this unless you're missing a specific art that you know that you want and that you can get guaranteed. Otherwise, if you're missing a more than, let's say you're missing like 3 or something, and there's a few that you don't want, then it's just not really worth it, because you could just get something that's completely useless, you know. I feel like they should be useful, but I'm gonna have a look at those later on. And that's all the current banners, and then some other promo updates like the arena promotions and some stuff in the shops, and you can now Godforge the paid equipments for Queen Lilah and Alice S Custom, which is probably, I don't know what form of Alice it is. That one's the Valentine's form of Alice. Yeah, so there's some improvements, and that's pretty much everything in this update. So you can see there's a decent amount of things they've added in this update, honestly, and definitely a more interesting update. I like summer events in this game, it's always nice. Always gotta love those summer events for no particular reason. But yeah, that's everything that's in this update, I believe. So now let's have a look at the actual banners themselves, and I want to start having a proper look at the new Labyreth and the limited arc as well. Yeah, we love summer units. If you can't tell, so many gacha games do like over-the-top summer events all the time. Like most gacha games have some form of summer event because it's just so popular. Because it's the best time for the waifu units and the best time for them to make money with these summer units. But some other games are just like, oh, we'll release a summer unit any time of the year, it doesn't matter. Even if it's winter, we're going to release a summer unit anyways. Some games are like that, it's funny. But yeah, I do like summer units, I have to say. For no particular reason, great. I just like themed units in general, so like Christmas units. I'm a fan of those too. They're quite interesting to me as well. But summer is more celebrated in gacha, because you know why. But let's have a look at Summer Labyreth now, because she looked pretty cool, and I feel like she could be quite an interesting unit from what I've seen so far. But let's have a proper look. So there we go. Right, so she's a god type unit, makes sense. She's god type, she's the advocate of god unit, so of course she's going to be a god type unit. And she has some pretty decent stats, high intelligence. She is going to be a physical damage dealer, but she does have some element stuff in her kit, which is always going to be quite useful, especially for PvE content. And if you know, which you should know, is Arch being melee has been probably the best unit for inflicting ailments for a very long time, so it's about time that there's some new type of ailment unit, so this could be quite interesting. Attribute resistances look alright, nothing really to mention there, and then ailments look okay, some nil to stun, doesn't have any curse or silence resistance or illness, but not weak to anything, I guess it's alright. Now her abilities, I'll be honest, her skills don't look that amazing to me. I'm not that impressed with these skills. I mean, I like her skill 3, it looks cool, but all of these skills just seem pretty slow. Her skill 1, first of all, this one is a long-range ice combo attack. This one has 9 hits, and for a skill 1, that's a pretty good amount of hits for a skill 1. The animations on it look okay, but it doesn't really look anything crazy to me. And then on the skill 2, this one just looks... I don't like this skill. I've seen it, it just looks very slow, and I feel like I'm never really going to use it at all, because it just seems way too slow. It's a wide area ice combo attack around this unit, so she's going to be a long range damage dealer, right? Or a long range unit, and you have a skill 2 that is around the unit, and she's going to be far away from the enemies anyway, so I feel like you're only going to be using her skill 2 if an enemy's up in your face and you want to push them away, probably. That's probably the only time they're going to be using this skill, I think. Any other time, you're just going to be ignoring that skill completely, because this one is 12 hits, and it looks pretty damn slow, so I just don't recommend using this skill unless there's an enemy that's up in your face that you don't want. Then I suppose you could use it, but it's not going to be her best skill by any means. It doesn't look that great to me. And then her skill 3 looks okay, but nothing crazy. I still feel like her skill 1 is the fastest one, at least. So this one's a long range wide area ice combo attack around the target. Could be pretty nice. But this one is only 18 hits, and 18 hits for a skill 3, kind of low for a skill 3 honestly, and it doesn't look that fast either. So overall, with these animations of her skills, I don't think she's really meant to be a DPS, a fast DPS type unit. Her main role is probably going to be a support element type unit that can do some damage, but isn't going to be the main damage dealer in your team, I believe, because you want fast DPS options. Yeah, this skill 3 looks pretty cool. I'm gonna have a proper look at them later on, but from what I remember from the video at least, it looked pretty nice. But still wish it could have been faster and had a bit more hit counts. Would have been nice if that was the case. And then her special, I don't think I even looked at the hit counts of her special. I should have done that. Powerful ice combo attack to all enemies. But the most important thing about this special is it restores this unit HP greatly and MP by 30%, and SCT stock for all skills by 100% of max. So it restores all of your SCT for your skill stocks, and it restores 30% of your HP and MP. So it could be a useful special for sure, because it gives you a way to give guaranteed MP back, so you can get 30% MP back guaranteed when you use a special, which can sometimes be useful. I mean, if you give her enough MP, like she already has 332 in her kit already, base from here, not including base skills too, so maybe she could get enough MP for that 30% to end up being at least 200 to end up being a honey elixir cast, and if that could happen, then I think it could be pretty good, because then, you know, you can just basically have access to another way to restore your MP for another honey elixir or whatever you're using. But I think it could be nice, and you could put on a Great War Rune if you want to, but probably not the best option. But still, yeah, I think it could be okay. Restoring all your SCT, restoring MP is always going to be very useful. So now let's have a look at her traits next. These always get a hell of a lot more interesting, because she doesn't have any debuffs or anything in her skill 1, 2, or 3. So these are kind of underwhelming, because I wish they could have had something like, I don't know, if there was a stun resistance debuff, that would be insane. But I know Adis wouldn't want to release something like that, because that would be crazy, wouldn't it? Yes, but if only. So her trait 1, at start the battle and every 40 seconds, give a cut blinds and curse resistance debuff to all enemies. So we've seen similar effects like this on a good amount of units now, but this one is a unique icon, so it will stack with Anula Melf because it's a different icon. Obviously it won't stack with itself, but it will stack with Anula Melf, which gives you another way to reduce curse resistance and blinds. Blinds, nobody really cares about blinds, it doesn't really matter, but curse, definitely curse is going to be quite nice, because reducing curse resistance, as you know, curse is what prevents you from using skills, so it can be useful in some cases for sure. The one negative thing is she doesn't have a auto cast Anula Melf in her kit, just like Arch being melee does, so you're going to have to equip Anula Melf on her if she doesn't already have it, which I should check. She does already have it, so you're going to need to cast this first, or cast that at some point, and keep casting it, because Arch being melee, the benefit she has is she doesn't even need to cast. She just infinitely normal attack, and you don't have to worry about it. But with this unit, you've got to be a bit more wary of the debuffs and stuff, because Anula Melf won't keep reapplying, got to cast that, but she does get the extra, you know, curse and blind resistance debuffs, so that's pretty nice. This will be permanent, basically, in a boss battle as long as she's alive, so it's pretty nice. Ice damage plus 30% and damage cap plus 30,000 when giving a new status element to an enemy. Restore all skills SCD by 3 seconds and MP by 2%. You know, that could be pretty nice. But it says new status elements, so if you apply the same element, it won't proc it again. I think if you inflict stun and it disappears, and then you inflict it again after it's disappeared, it probably still doesn't count as a new one, does it? Probably not. So probably only the first time that you inflict the ailment. We have seen a skill like this before. Paranoia, I think it's called, or whatever it is. that was on Logia ages ago. Pretty damn insane. But yeah, it still could be pretty nice. The only problem is that restoring MP is going to be great, but only when you don't have MP, so once you've inflicted every single stats element, which probably won't take long as long as you have, you know, casted New Alpha when you're up against a boss and using dual wield and that kind of stuff, then you're probably going to inflict stats elements quite quickly if you're normal attacking. So the MP regen and the MP regen is probably going to become non-existent because at the start of the battle you're going to have full MP anyways. But this could be pretty nice because restoring MP in like arena could be pretty funny, but I don't think it's going to be viable because a lot of people run Paladin and more ailment resistances, so I don't think it's really going to happen. But I'm just saying, could be funny, could be a possibility. I just don't think it's going to happen. But the main thing here is definitely the SCT. I think the SCT is going to be very nice. Allow her to use her skills. You just do a couple of normal attacks, inflict some ailments, and then you get a bunch of SCT, and then you start spamming skills. It's going to be a fun time. So definitely going to be a nice trait 1 for sure. And then her trait 2. This one's quite interesting, and I didn't really fully understand this, and it's definitely going to require testing to really see what this does and how good it is, and how it affects, and blah blah that stuff. But let's read it first. When skill attacking, give target enemy laceration count. And what this is it's basically a unique debuff, right? So when that laceration count is high enough, then it activates the laceration and cuts HP by 15% of max HP. So I believe that means, what I'm understanding from this is, in simple terms, you inflict a debuff when you're skill attacking, right? And that can have multiple stacks of the debuff, and then once you've reached a certain amount of stacks on the debuff, then it activates the laceration effect, which cuts 15% of the enemy's max HP. Obviously, that will be ridiculously overpowered against bosses, so of course there's a cap against this, a cap to this, which the HP cut cap is 30 million, which honestly that's pretty good. 30 million. If you were to be able to constantly activate this, this could be pretty damn awesome for DPS, and I feel like that could be pretty fun, but I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see how it actually works in practice. But in my head, what I'm thinking is what most likely happens is you build up the stacks, and then once it activates, it probably reduces the count to 0. I mean, that would be the most balanced thing that I could think of in my head, but it doesn't say anything about reducing the count to 0. I'm just saying maybe that's gonna happen. But if not, then how does this activate, and how often does it activate is what we really got to see, because if you can continuously keep activating this non-stop, it would be insane, but I don't think that's going to happen, and there definitely has to be some kind of drawback to this, otherwise it's just going to be very strong. And I know ADIS like to balance their things like this sometimes, usually a lot of the time, so we're really going to have to wait and see on testing on this one to fully understand how this works and how useful it's going to be. When laceration activates on target that has unit given laceration count, whatever that means, then HP cut cap is increased by another 50 million or 5 million, whatever, how many zeros that is, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 5 million, yes, that's what I expected, it's alright. When using a skill, laceration counts given to target enemy plus 100%. So you can see her entire trait 2 is tied to laceration and that specific debuff. So let's hope that the debuff is actually useful, and if it is, could be pretty good, but it really depends on testing and how good it actually ends up being. I know big numbers sound good, could be fun, seeing big numbers, reducing 30 million HP constantly could be amazing, but we have to really wait and see on how good this ends up being. Because the one thing I'm a little bit confused about is the fact that it doesn't say of a cooldown or anything like that. It just says when the count is high enough, it activates it. Doesn't say anything about reducing the count or anything like that, so we're gonna have to wait and see on testing for this for sure. So now let's have a look at her skills. This is always interesting too. She has a completely new anima, and I gotta say, this anima is gonna be quite insane. For PvE content, it's gonna be amazing. 100%, it's gonna be very good. One of the best animas in the game, probably the best anima in the game, 100%. For PvE content, going to be very good. And I'm saying that without even hovering over it, but let's have a look. So, boost all enemies' laceration count taken by 50%, and boost damage taken by 30%, and damage taken capped by 10,000 during status ailments. So you know why this is so good? Boost all damage taken by 30%, so all forms of damage 30% more, right? And damage taken cap plus 10,000, so any form of damage 10,000 more damage cap. And this is an anima, so it's going to stack with charisma, because an anima is a debuff, charisma is a buff. Anima's continuous as long as this unit is alive. Obviously it don't stack with other animas, but this is definitely one of the best animas in the game, because 30% more damage debuff is insane, because it's not just plus 30%, right? It's a debuff, which ends up being more than the 30% technically, probably. I don't really know how it works, but I know for sure that like damage taken debuffs and stuff like that are pretty damn effective. So that's amazing. And also the plus 10,000 damage cap to any forms of damage as well for both of those effects. Very damn strong, and it's going to be amazing. Especially in crest bosses, I feel like she's going to be quite a good, you know, replacement for Arch being melee in the Battlegraph Simulator for stunning. Hopefully, if she can stun reliably, she could be a better option because of the plus 10,000 damage cap that she's providing to your entire team. It's going to be pretty nuts, I think. So definitely excited about using that, because more stackable damage and damage caps, what I really like to see for sure. So that's going to be very nice, 100%. Love that one. And obviously she's got a Nula Melf in her kit already. Just make sure that you cast that every like 40 seconds or so, because that's going to be important, because her main role is definitely going to be inflicting ailments for sure, because she does have a bunch of research skills in here. And obviously this anima boost damage and damage taken, well, damage taken and cap when the enemy has an ailment. So you definitely want to try and inflict ailments if you can, because that's going to be very important with this unit. Should be quite easy if you have dual wield, and I believe she already has that in her kit as well. And Cactus Hammer could be pretty nice. So now her passive skills, Orgon up 5, Arcane up 2, Critical up 3, Proud Force. And then some research skills, Silence Research, Curse Research, and then Ecology Research. I believe this one is not a teachable skill. I wish she had Stun Research. I wish she did, because Stun Research is so good, and it's not a teachable skill, and I wish she would have had that, because that would have been amazing. But oh well, we have to do with what we have, I suppose. But Ecology Research, chance to randomly inflict any basic stats element during a normal attack. Very good, 100% of this. So technically you could stun the enemy. It's not that reliable, but it's still a very good research. Yeah, stun research is not teachable. That's why I was saying it would have been very nice if she had it in her kit. It's on a couple of units in the game. I don't know if Arch being melee has it. She might do, I don't remember, but I know a few units have it. Not that many though. It's a very good skill. I just wish she had that, because stun is one of the best, you know, ailments in the game, because it just prevents anything the enemy does. So it's just one of the best ones. I like using it. But yeah, inflicting stun with this unit isn't going to be super reliable because she doesn't have stun research. But if you equip Cactus Hammer and just keep spamming normal attacks, maybe it could be, you know, good enough to inflict stun reliably. But I don't know. You have to see on how good her normal attack is. Yeah, that's why she's so consistent, because of her stun research. That's what I thought. So Arch being melee is probably still going to be the best, most reliable way to stun the enemy. But what Labyreth provides is more like team, you know, team damage and stuff. So they got positive and negatives, I suppose. Auto Grant Aura, Auto High Magic Barrier, Auto Heal is interesting on a damage dealer, honestly. Now I think about it, Auto Heal, and she has ways to restore MP as well. Interesting. It's cool. It's nice. Ice Mega Drive, Ice Attack Raise 2, Ice Attack Raise 5. Very nice damage and damage caps. I'd Critical Raise, Terra Mouth, and Terra Mouth 4. More damage and damage cap. Awesome. And then Terra Jail 2, take less damage from enemies that have stats ailments. Maglion, of course, because she's going to be a long range damage dealer. Thaumaturgy Ring Plus, there you go. That's why it says that she scales off of strength and intelligence, and also has quite high intelligence. More intelligence than strength, so she's definitely going to scale more off of intelligence than strength, but she will scale off of both because they both show up here, but you're probably better off to focus heavily on intelligence instead of strength. So you could put on Thaumaturgy Ring as well, and it will stack with Thaumaturgy Ring Plus, could be pretty nice. She already has dual wields, and for some reason she uses a bow. Which is fine, I suppose, but we don't have many bows in the game. We have a couple, but I know she has a paid bow, of course. But we really need to get bow boosts on Arks, but Aegis just never wants to release them ever. And we don't have many bow units in the game either, so I suppose... Alright, it's about time we get another bow unit, I suppose. But bow boost by itself doesn't mean that you have to use a bow, because so far in the traits... hasn't been anything locked to a specific weapon. Yeah, I suppose instrument counts as a bow in this game. I suppose that's as close as you can get. Sure. Funny. Great. Dual wield. So quick trigger. That's quite nice. Do like that. Giant killing for Giant Shield 2. So you can definitely see that she's more of a PvE focused unit. If you can't already tell, because she has like these giant killing stuff. And, you know, ailments and stuff like that, and this anima, she definitely seems like a PvE focused unit, and I think she's going to be quite a good PvE unit, which is nice, because it's definitely a break from ridiculous PvP units, for sure. Yeah, a Millheads, I wish I had that one. I want a near rerun at some point. But yeah, her paid's going to be pretty nice. It's should worth to reroll, only if you're literally just starting. If you have an existing account with some collab stuff already, then... you're probably better off just keeping that. But if you don't have much on your current account, then it really depends, I suppose, on what you have. I think she's definitely going to be good. Like any player, she's going to be good for any player whatsoever. What stage of the game you're in, she's going to be useful, whatever. So, yeah, she's going to be great no matter what. Paranoia, so she got Paranoia plus her trait 1 for FCT. So if you don't know what Paranoia does, because we don't see this skill that often, when giving a new status ailment to an enemy, restore 5 seconds of SCT. So now she's restoring 5 seconds plus another 3 seconds, 8 seconds of SCT, every time she inflicts a new status ailment. It's going to be pretty nice. Very good SCT regen, for sure. So it's definitely going to be a new player friendly unit, because she has a lot of SCT regen in her kit, and she has ailments and, you know, supportive buffs and stuff, so she's definitely going to be a new player friendly unit for sure. So if you get her as a new player, she's definitely going to carry you throughout pretty much most of the game, so I can say that for sure. And because she's dual wields, you could even put on Trishla if you really want to, so yeah, she's got a lot of options, I think. Goddess Advocate, we've seen this many times, so of course she's going to have this because she is an advocate of God. Chance enough by critical attacks that taken, and skill and special attacks have a chance to insta-kill, always nice. For sure. This one's very long, so these are her unique skills, so these are completely new on her specifically. So, when physical attacking, chance to give blind or illness, random, whenever giving an enemy a basic stats ailment, so any of those basic stats ailments, then boost physical and special damage, maximum of 40% at 10 times. So, it's whenever you're giving a status ailment, so if you refresh the status ailment with the same status ailment, it's going to count, so it's going to be pretty easy to get the maximum effect of this in PvE content, at least if you're attacking bosses that have, you know, at least they're not, if they're not nil plus whatever to ailments, then you should be pretty good, you should be able to get this. Yeah, 4% per stack. but you're going to be at 10 stacks like most of the time, because as long as you're inflicting, you know, a lot of stats ailments and normal attacking a lot, then it should be pretty easy to get those damage boosts. And then this one, pretty similar. When physical attacking, chance to give curse and or stun. There you go. Hey, there's some stun. Stun. We love seeing stun. Love that. Whenever giving an enemy a basic stats ailment, boosts damage cap maximum of 30,000 at 10 times. So that's more damage cap. That's more damage. And the good thing is, these two are unique, right? And it says any physical attack. So now her skills, even her skills have a chance to inflict stun. I would assume it's going to be a very tiny chance of that happening. So you're much better off normal attacking, because usually normal attacks for ailments have a higher chance than skill attacks. That's just in my experience, at least, based on what I've seen on Goldmine, I think. But I think these two are going to be very good. There are more skills to apply status ailments. So you've got an extra chance for inflicting blind, illness, curse and stun, which is going to stack with the ecology research and these other research curse, you know. So you've got a lot of ways to inflict curse, and you have 2 ways to inflict stun in a kit at least, and then you can also put on Cactus Hammer. So maybe it's enough. We'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely nice that she has this. Like, both of these are going to be very nice, and I do love ailment units. They're just very useful in this game, because as you know, in the Battleground Simulator, ailments are just, you must have ailments, otherwise at the high difficulties you're going to get destroyed, because they do a lot of damage, and you can just completely remove mechanics sometimes by stunning the enemies, so it's going to be quite insane. And then we've got this one. Yeah, it's just stun lock all the bosses. Damage taken from enemies with status ailments minus 20%. When attack is fire or dark, take 20% less damage. More. Nice. Chance to give silence, curse, and or stun to the enemy that defeats this unit. So when this unit dies by an enemy, there's a chance that this unit will give silence, curse, or stun to the enemy, which is nice. I wonder what the chance is, but could be good. But obviously in PvE content, you don't want her to die, and you know, it's kind of a weird skill if you think about it, because it's giving her damage mitigation, but it also gives an effect when she dies. So it's kind of like, why would you want to have mitigation as well as an effect when she dies, because you don't want her to die, you know? But yeah, that's mostly going to be for PvP, I think, but she isn't even a PvP unit. I feel like the chance to inflict silence, curse, or stun when she dies isn't going to be that important, really. Sometimes randomly go very quiet. Yes, I've heard of that, but I have it plugged in, and I don't have anything I can do about it, I think. So, on my end, at least it looks fine. But I don't really have any alternatives, really. I mean, this is supposed to be a good headset, which it is, but I've heard the mic isn't very good. But I don't think I can do anything to adjust that, at least. Like, yes, I can go into settings and change the, you know, sound, but I don't know. Yeah, I've heard someone else mention it, but I don't notice that much. I notice it sometimes, but I don't know why the microphone does that, why the headset does that, because it's more of an expensive headset, and I don't have any alternatives, and it's even plugged into the computer right now, so I can't really do much about it, I think. So here's the last new skill. Battlestar, and when revived, give this unit a buff that nullifies 50% of unit intelligence damage taken. So basically 50% of this unit's intelligence, you get a buff which nullifies that amount of damage. Nullify anti-god type effects from enemies, that's going to be great. And enemy attention drawn -1. So, awesome. Nullifying god type effects, that doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't really matter in PvE content, but I suppose that does give some, you know, options for PvP, I suppose. So that could be, I mean, it could be an option. If she has enough damage on her skills, then maybe she could end up being used in arena and guild battles. Like, it's a chance. There's still a chance. But I know most of, like, there's a good amount of skills and stuff in her kit that is more tied to, you know, bosses and ailments, so I don't imagine she's going to be that useful in arena and guild battles. But for an ailments unit, the reason why I say she's not going to be good is because most people build for ailments anyways. So, especially if you're using Paladin, you basically can't get inflicted by any ailments whatsoever, so yeah, it's probably not going to be used in there, but for PvE, definitely going to be very nice. So, 6th Enhance, skills down here, so take less damage, more HP and intelligence, pretty nice, more critical damage cap, bow mastery, so you get more physical damage and damage caps, pretty nice. Ice weapon, so make sure you have an ice weapon. That kind of sucks though, because you have to have an ice bow, and guess how many of those we have in the game? Probably like none, or 1 or 2 terrible ones, you know. Well, obviously she's got a paid bow, which is an ice bow, of course it is, but we hardly have any, right? So having an ice bow, you don't really need to have an ice bow. You can have any bow, and then you can have any ice weapon, I suppose, but that means you can't really use a cactus hammer if you want the maximum damage boost at least. But this gives you damage cap, so if you want her to be have more damage and damage cap, then try to have an ice bow and a bow, you know, because that would be the best case scenario. So if you don't get her paid bow, you're probably going to be missing out on these, but it doesn't matter too much, because if you're using her as an ailment unit, her actual, you know, there's the Ice God Forge bow. Yeah, I haven't gotten that one, so I don't remember, but that would be nice if that's the case. Yeah, it sounds pretty decent. So I suppose that could be that's fine, completely fine, because that sounds like a decent bow then. Yeah. So if you're a free-to-play player or someone that doesn't, you know, want to get her paid bow, then I suppose you do have an option available for a decent ice bow. So I suppose you don't really need her paid bow, but obviously the main benefit from a paid bow, we'll talk about that later on once we talk about that. But let's keep going. So more SCT recovery speed. I don't think she has, yeah, she doesn't have auto haste, which is like one of the first times ever that I've seen a physical damage dealer with no auto haste, but it doesn't matter too much because she does have a lot of SCT regen already from like Paranoia and her trait 1, of course. And the last one here, boost laceration 2. So when using a skill, laceration count given to target enemy plus 300%. It sounds like a lot because 300% is a lot, but I would assume 300% is probably like 300% of 1, which is just not going to be much of a difference, but we'll have to see, I suppose. But yeah, it's going to be nice. So far, yeah, but auto haste is just a very expensive skill that I've never put on a unit though, that's the thing. So far she seems like a very useful unit. Obviously you can tell her main role is going to be inflicting ailments, supporting your team with her anima, and she should be able to do a decent amount of damage as well. That's what it looks like so far, but it really depends on the laceration debuffs. Yeah, very expensive. So I feel like comparing her to like Arch being melee, I do think she's going to be an upgrade for sure, like for your entire team, because she should be able to provide enough stun ailments as long as you prevent her from using her skills. But if you do that, then you're basically removing most of her kit that relies around her skills. So, you know, but I still feel like that she's going to be very useful for the anima, you know. Not sure if it's worth crystals. Yeah, well, so far I do recommend to use your tickets first and wait a bit, save your crystals for the moment. But I can say for a fact that she is a more interesting unit than a typical damage dealer, and I am always a fan of these types of units that have, you know, team supportive buffs and that kind of thing. and she provides ailments as well, which is very rare in this game because we don't have many ailment units. So I do feel like her value as a PvE unit is going to be quite high. So I do feel like she's going to be worth having on basically every single person's account. But is she worth the pity? Up to you. I don't know yet. I mean, maybe. But is she on the same end as like Spirit Maiden Sarah? Absolutely not. But I can still say that she's going to be a top tier unit for sure. Based on her kit so far, her supportive capabilities and her ailments just seem like a better version of Arch being Melee, at least so far. So I would like to replace Melee with Summoner Breath now, because she just seems like she's going to benefit the team and allow me to push a bit more in the Battlegraph Simulator stages, so I would like that. Would be nice. I feel like she's going to be quite a useful unit for sure. And we definitely have to test the Laceration debuffs, because I don't fully understand and see. I don't fully know how good this will be, but we'll have to wait and see in testing later on, I suppose. But yeah, for sure, she's going to be a great unit for everyone. I can say that for a fact. She is a limited unit. I think it's definitely worth a couple of crystals, no matter what. If you completely skip, then what's wrong with you? I don't think it's worth. I don't think you should completely skip. I think it's still worth a couple of pulls, but definitely use all your tickets first and wait for part 2 for more of those tickets in the event, hopefully. And we don't. There's a chance that there could be another summer unit in 2 weeks. We don't know. I mean, there's still a chance, because last year we had 2 summer units, and the year before that we had 2 summer units. So there's a chance there's a second summer unit and summer arc coming in 2 weeks. So I would say wait for now, because you've got another 28 days, which is a long time to wait. So you could wait, and we do have, you know, the these banners going on for another 2 weeks as well, which I'll probably mention that a little bit soon. But now let's have a look at the limited arc next. Gotta say, this is definitely one of my more, you know, more favourite limited arcs, well, arc sprites. It's got Melee, Lily, Labyreth, Ebba, all of the Advocate of God units. They're still teasing us. They're teasing us, and it's frustrating because we still don't have Ebba as a unit yet. And Summer, Lily, and Labyreth, and Summer Melee would be 2 units I would really love to see, but I don't think we're ever going to get it, and that's what sucks. So, yeah, I don't know why they're not releasing Ebba yet, because she's definitely going to be. She is a story unit that hasn't been released yet, and she's already been on like 2 arcs already. So, trait on this one. Non-thunder, physical, and magic damage taken minus 15%. When ice magic attacking, chance to give illness, which is nice. When giving a new status ailment to an enemy, restore 10 seconds of SCT for 1 skill. So it's 1 skill, it's not all of your skills. But this on top of Summer Labyreth's already existing SCT regen skills is going to be quite a lot of SCT regen, honestly. It's going to be a lot. Yeah, I really wish that we could use Arks sprites or artwork as our home screen. That would be amazing. I would love that to be the case. They should really do that. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. They really need to do that, because that would just be another way to make Arks a bit more interesting, is allow you to use the art for your home screen. Would love that to be the case. Would be amazing. Let's hope in the future at some point would be great. So I think this trait, it seems decent, but it doesn't provide any damage in the trait, which is one downside. But it does give more like supportive capabilities, I suppose, a little bit, but it doesn't really provide too much, so I don't really care too much about this trait. Like, yes, when ice magic attacking, chance to give illness could potentially be useful sometimes. Rarely, very rarely. And then damage mitigation, non-thunder, physical and magic, it's very specific, you know. And so the SCT regen, I suppose, could be useful a little bit, but I don't see myself ever using this trait, honestly. I just don't feel like I would want to use it. I'd probably prefer to use something else, like the rare arc that gives more research chance, I would prefer to use that for elements, than this, So let's have a look at the learnable skills next, because these are pretty good. They're all like ice themed. So Ice Circle, Ice Rage, I love this one. Getting more raid skills, always very nice. About to start getting ice damage, 20% buff. I believe this is the first time we've seen this, and as you know, these buffs are always very useful to have, 100%, so would love to have this for sure. Marine Insight is interesting. When ice attacking, unit intelligence plus 15% in deal damage. So this one, basically gives you 15% more intelligence, but not exactly, because the reason why it's a little bit different than like a Magic Up Max is because it's when attacking. So what I believe that would mean is it takes into account your current intelligence and then increases it by another 15% on top of your current intelligence. So that means it's technically going to be more than a 15% increase than what a Magic Up Max 15% increase would give. Because if you also have like Moonlight, which gives a bunch of intelligence as long as you have max HP, then that's going to give you more intelligence, and then when you're attacking, it's going to take that intelligence into account and increase intelligence by 15% on top of your, current intelligence. So I feel like this is going to be quite a good skill for even more intelligence when using ice skills. And it says when ice attacking, so this can be magic, this can be skills, any form of ice attacking damage is what it says. So I feel like this could be quite a useful skill, honestly. And if you want to use Shift Lenius as an ice mage, this will be perfect for him because he has a hell of a lot of intelligence, and increasing his intelligence by what his base intelligence already is going to be quite insane. So I do think this is going to be quite a good skill for sure for even more intelligence, and stat increases in general are quite useful in PvE content. So I think it's going to be a nice skill. It's not like anything overpowered. It would be a nice one to have, but it's not worth chasing. So I think it would be good. Basically a worse Magic Up. Well, it's a better Magic Up. It's a better Magic Up. I don't remember the SC costs and stuff of them, but the reason, like what I already explained, is it's going to be on top of your maximum intelligence. So I feel like it has some potential. At least the way I'm thinking of, it could be a good increase, I think. Let's say you have 10,000 intelligence in the battle. It's going to be 15% of that, right? It's not your before battle intelligence. So that hopefully makes you understand how much more useful it's going to be for more stats. So I feel like it could be nice. And then Surf Impact. This one is interesting. So I don't really like it because it's random. So when an ice weapon is equipped, when ice skill or special activates, boost damage by between 10% and 40% random. I don't like it because it's random, and if you get a 10% increase for 7SC, it's terrible. But if you get a 40% increase, yeah, that'd be amazing, but is it going to happen? Is it an even chance? Like, is the chance of a 10% and 40% happening like the same, and like even chance of every single damage happening? I don't know, but I feel like some mathematician can do this for me at some point. They can work out like the average damage increase that you would get from this and see if it's worth it. I have no idea. I've done maths, but I have no idea. If you want to do that, go ahead, but I feel like it's probably going to be worth it, because technically 20% increase would be equivalent to 8 SC. So if you get at least 20% or more, then it's going to be worth it, and you have potential to get up to 40%. So I suppose it could be a good skill. There's a chance. But it's only ice skill or special, and you have to have an ice weapon. So it's very specific, and it's random, so it's not my favorite. But it could be a good skill for more damage, hopefully. But if it is an even chance, and I feel like it might be worth it, for more stackable damage modifiers, I think it's going to be nice, I suppose. And then we got Ice Attack Rise 2, and Ice Weak Point Breakthrough 2, more damage cap. Yeah, Burst Spikes and PvP is going to be quite nice. Could put it on Prefect of God Zero. Wow, now he's got more damage. Now I'm scared. My Spirit King is prepared for that, but, you know, yeah, that's basically more damage for Zero, which, honestly, he needed it, because he's kind of getting a bit, you know, not as good as he used to be, honestly, but still pretty good. So overall, I think these skills are actually pretty nice. Like, yeah, average of 20% 7 SC is not that bad. It's pretty good. So yeah, I honestly feel like this arc's pretty good. In general, so far, these learnable skills are actually quite strong. Because you've got Ice Raid, and you've got Marine Insight, which is actually going to be quite good for a strong intelligence increase, more than a Magic Up Max would give. And you've got Surf Impact, which, as long as you get 20% or more, it's going to be worth using. So I feel like all these skills are going to be very nice, but these are for ice damage dealers, so they're mostly for, you know, Prefect of God Zero, and, you know, any ice damage dealer, Lornado, those types of units, I suppose. And then the intelligence could be good on, like, high intelligence units, so maybe, like, ice units that scale off intelligence, like Summer Sever and stuff like that. So, yeah, you've got potential here with this arc, and honestly, I would like to have this, not just for the artwork, not just for the sprite. I would like to have the learnable skills, because I feel like the learnable skills are very nice to have. I would like these, because these learnable skills seem pretty good. But honestly, these are more for PvP. But Marine Insight is for, like, both, basically. More for PvE, honestly, but yeah, I do like these learnable skills. Now, the Archive rewards, this one's actually pretty good too. So this is a accessory, MP, Mind, and Intelligence. And this has quite a unique trait. I don't think we've seen something like this before. If we have, then I don't remember, and we don't have many. Duration of basic stats ailments. So all of your basic stats ailments from units' active skills, plus 15%. So your stats ailments will now last 15% longer, which is quite a big deal, especially for PvE content and, like, stun. It's going to be quite, you know, a good effect to have for sure. And this even gives some stun resistance and poison resistance. So I do consider this accessory to be quite useful. It's not going to be like a massive difference, because it's only 15% more duration, right? But I think it's going to be useful, especially if you want to try and make a as reliable stun unit as you can. I feel like this accessory is going to be worth using for sure, because more stun duration and just any ailment duration is going to be quite nice to have. So I do like that. Going to be quite a nice accessory, and this is a limited arc. So honestly, if you put all of that together with this unit, I do consider this banner to be quite a good banner, because you've got quite a good unit in here, and you've got quite a useful arc in here too. So I do consider this banner to be one of the better banners. And I know we get a bunch of these banners, we get a lot of banners that are good, considered good banners, but I consider this probably the best banner available at the moment. Out of all of these, because these are just Descent of Heroes banners. But yeah, I would recommend this banner most currently, because the unit seems like she has potential to be quite a useful long-term unit, 100%. And this arc has some very good learnable skills, and the Archive reward is pretty solid too, so I myself am definitely going to be pulling on this banner at least a bit and see how it goes. But I'm hoping to get both of these, because honestly, they both seem quite useful. They both have quite useful things to them, so I do like this banner. The value of this banner is quite high. It doesn't have anything that is a must pull, but it does have some quite useful things that are worth having if you can manage to get them, so it's a decent banner for sure. So now let's have a look at her paid equipments. So let's go to the credential shop right here, have a look at her paid equipment. She has 2 paid equipments, which is good, because it's not one paid equipment for 50 credentials. We hate those. So she has a bow and an accessory. I think when I checked these earlier, they seem pretty good. So she has an ice bow, of course she does. Mind, intelligence, and strength. Ice damage cap increased by 3000. Regular attacks have a chance to give a basic stats ailment, and damage to enemies that have a stats ailment is increased by 30%. So obviously this is going to be a best in slot weapon for sure. It's quite a good one, because it basically gives you another ecology research on this weapon, and it will stack with it, so it's basically more chance to inflict ailments on your regular attacks. So yes, it's going to be quite nice for more stats ailments on your regular attacks, so I do consider this to be quite useful. And then obviously you've got the damage cap and more damage to stats ailments, so it's going to be quite nice. I think the main effect of this weapon is definitely the chance to inflict a basic stats ailment on normal attacks, so I do think it's going to be quite nice for that reason alone. But yeah, you don't have to use it, because you could just use the Godforge Ice Bow and then Cactus Hammer. That's probably what most players are going to be using, and you'll be just fine with that. But yes, her paid bow is going to be slightly better, because it's going to give you a higher chance for your regular attacks to inflict an ailment, so yeah, that's going to be a bit better. But is it worth getting the weapon just for that? Maybe not, it depends. Let's have a look at the accessory next though. So this one gives MP defense and mind. I don't know why it doesn't give any intelligence. I wish it did. So physical and magic attack damage taken minus 10%, plus 1% chance of research skills activating. 1% isn't much, but for research skills which already have a very small chance is pretty damn good. So that's great. And then enemy attention drawn minus 1, and this also gives 10 dark and ice resistance. So honestly, the main effect of this accessory is definitely the plus 1% chance of research skills activating, because you can stack this with Man-Made Ether Ark, the rare Ark, which has another 3%. So they've got an extra 4% chance of research skills activating, which is going to be quite good. So these are both quite decent. They're not like super overpowered or anything. Like, yes, they're going to be quite useful. Which one would I select though? I'm not 100% sure yet, honestly. Like, I was considering this one more, because the extra chance of research skills activating seems pretty nice. But if you're just getting this accessory for that, I don't know. Because it might be better to get this bow, because this has the chance for stats ailments. Yeah, I think they're both going to be good, but are they necessary? I mean, not necessary, but yes, it's going to be a good increase, I suppose. But if I were to choose one of them, which one would I get? I mean, it's kind of difficult to say, because 1% of research skills activating is going to be all of your research skills. Yeah, if you don't have them, not everyone's going to have a mealhead, so I'm kind of leaning towards the bow a little bit. Reason being is because this also gives another chance for regular attacks to inflict a stats ailment, which kind of makes up for this 1% in a way, and might be a slightly bit better for the 1%, maybe. Or maybe not as good, I don't know, but they're both pretty solid. Yeah, I think the bow's going to be slightly better, because it can give you some damage cap and some damage as well. But if you just want ailments, you don't care about anything else, it's kind of hard to say, but maybe this accessory will be a bit better for that case, if you only care about stats ailments. But honestly, they're both kind of similar, like both decent. I kind of want to get both of them, but if I were to select one, maybe it's kind of a tough decision. You can't really go wrong with either of them, honestly, but maybe the accessory, because we do have a free-to-play accessible ice bow, so maybe the accessory, honestly. But the only good effect you're getting from this, in PvE at least, is the plus 1% chance of research skills activating. So if you don't care too much about the 1% chance of research activating, then maybe the bow's could be a little bit better, but it's up to you, I suppose. But yeah, I think they're both pretty good. If I get the units, I'm probably going to end up getting both of them because I feel like I'm going to be using this unit for a very long time, so I definitely want to get both of these if possible. But we'll have to see what that's like later on in a moment. But yeah, I consider them to be pretty good. No, I don't think they're as strong as Arks being Melee's paid equipments, because those are more insane than these, in my opinion, but they're still pretty good. So, that's everything in regards to paid equipments and the unit and stuff. So, what I want to do now is I definitely want to do some summons, but I don't entirely know how many I'm going to do. I do also want to have a look at these Redux units and Arks and the trade ticket, so you know what, I might as well do that first while I'm here, and then we'll do some summons afterwards. So first of all, let's have a look at this unit trade ticket. So let me just have a brief look at every unit that's accessible in here, that's available in here, and then I'll point out the most important ones that people should be selecting. Now, summer units in general are more limited, so they are a bit more valuable than Descent of Heroes units, but not every single one. Let me have a look at everyone that's accessible here. So we've got Nael, obviously got Labyreth. You know what's funny is I still feel like you're going to be using Advocate of God Labyreth, even if you get the summer version of Labyreth. It's kind of a sticky situation really, but if you don't have a support unit, then you should probably use your ticket on Labyreth, because you definitely must have at least one support unit. But honestly, now I think about it, is it really necessary? Because Lilah, with her insight, is now accessible to most players. So if you get the summer version of Labyreth and you have the insight of Lilah, is it worth using the ticket on Labyreth or someone else? Well, I still feel like Labyreth is a top tier support unit that's going to be useful no matter what. That's the thing. Yeah, she's not really a PvE support unit. I mean, if you need a support, I mean, yeah, it's a good point that she isn't really necessary for PvE content. So for newer players, that might not be super necessary. Yeah, Lilah is definitely going to be probably the best option, maybe. But isn't she in the reroll tutorial? I don't remember. She probably is. But if you don't have Lilah, then definitely make sure to get her, because she's still useful. 100%, she's still amazing. Still one of the best mages in the game. And then you've got Arch being melee as an element unit that we've been talking about a bit today too. She's still amazing. If you don't get Summer Labyreth and you need an element unit, then she would be a good option too. Apart from that though, not any other Descent of Heroes units that I would consider on this list. But of course we have summer units as well, which it gets a bit more interesting. So I want to list some important units that you should keep an eye out for, and this really depends on what you have on your account. So I can't say exactly what you should be getting, because it depends on what you do and don't have. So I can't really go for #1 rankings and stuff like that, because I don't really do stuff like that. But I think Summer Nael is going to be a good choice for sure. If you don't have Summer Nael and you already have some of these Descent of Heroes units, then I would probably select Summer Nael. I think she's going to be the best summer unit from this selection of units, in my opinion, because she has the anima, but she is more for PvP, honestly. So I've never used her in PvE, honestly. So yeah, but I still consider it to be a good unit. And you've also got Summer Sarah, which is a good one still to this day. But out of the two, I still prefer. I think I would still prefer Nael, honestly. And of course, we have Sea Princess Lilah, which is the new insight unit that I want to talk about a bit later on. Yeah, melee versus Shift Labyreth for ailments. I still think that Arch being melee is going to be better for more reliable stun because she has the stun research skill. But yeah, I do feel like Shift Labyreth is still going to be, you know, a lot better overall, you know. Yeah. But it is limited and it's summer, so that's why I'm kind of like, it's pretty good. But let's go back to this. So, Sea Princess Lilah could be a selection if her insight ends up being very good. Summer Sarah, definitely a good option too. Summer Sevia, she's a good one, but I wouldn't really use my ticket on her because I would prefer to use a ticket on a support unit more than her because she's more of a damage dealer, and I don't feel like I don't feel like she's not necessary anymore. And obviously you've got the Center Heroes units. Like, if you care about PvP at all, then Zero is an option here. So if you still don't have him and you have his UR Arc and stuff, then you have an option to get him now potentially. And you've got Labyreth and Lilah melee, so those are kind of the more important ones. Arch being melee, Goddess Lilah, Advocate of God Labyreth, Prefect of God Zero only if you care about PvP and have the necessary skills and arcs to make him good. And then the limited summer units, Shift Nail is probably going to be my #1 pick there, and very close to that would be Summer Sarah, and Sea Princess Lilah really depends on her insights. Well, I didn't mention Shifter Dale because his DPS is just not very good. Like, yes, he's a good unit for clearing content, but with the more recent damage dealers, I feel like he isn't really necessary anymore. And if you get any recent damage dealer, they're probably still going to be better than Shifter Dale, because Shifter Dale's, you know, the main benefit Shifter Dale has is, you know, the boss slayers and stuff like that. He's good at killing bosses and just content in general, but he doesn't clear content very fast. That's his main downside. Not very fast, but he can clear it reliably. I never used him. I have him on my accounts. Never used him ever, because there are a lot better options in the game, and most newer physical damage dealers are going to be better than him for DPS. So I wouldn't really select him, because even if you're a newer player and you're just re-rolling now, you can get a better damage dealer than him, right? And he's literally only good in PvE as well, so I wouldn't really select him. But yeah, those units that I mentioned would be the only ones I would consider using a ticket on, but it really depends on what you're missing and what you have already. Based on what I'm missing, I'm going to be saving the ticket for now, but I'm considering Shift Sarah, and I'm going to wait for testing for Lilah first. And maybe Sarah, but probably not. I don't think I need that, so it's probably going to be Summer Sarah is the one that I'm thinking of getting most of all, and then I'm going to wait for testing on Lilah, so that's what I'm going to do. But for most players, if you're just starting out and you have like none of these units, then either Shift Nail or Summer Sarah, or one of these important Descent of Heroes units like the Breath, if you need a healer, but it's less necessary now that we have Insight Lena. Goddess Lilah if you didn't get her from the reroll. The problem is that these units are available, more accessible than the summer units, so that's why I would more recommend getting a summer unit like Shift Nael and, you know, Summer Sarah. But some of these summer units like Lena, Alice, Tinkerly, all of those units are kind of useless now. I mean, you could argue that they have some useful, that you could use them for some things, but these are units that are very outdated that I would never select a ticket on any of these, even though they're limited. I wouldn't pull for any of these ones, but Summer Sarah is still a useful one, mostly for PvP, can be used as like a SCT battery unit. But yeah, I think I've talked everything that I can about that ticket for now. But yeah, before using the ticket, make sure to do all the free pulls and tickets and stuff first. If you plan to do any pulls in the banners as well with crystals, do those first. And yeah, that's a good point that with these Descent of Heroes units, I think that all of these Descent of Heroes units in this ticket are available in a Descent of Heroes banner, off banner. So you could get these potentially off banner, and that is why I consider getting a summer unit a bit more valuable, but it really depends. But yeah, summer Sarah and summer Nael is probably what I would select. One of those two, I believe. And then I want to have a quick look at the Redux units and Arks, just to go through them and mention the more important ones. I did mention the units already, but let's go to Redux. I want to have a quick look at the Arks, and then I'll start doing some summons on the new banners. So we have two banners right here. So we've got part 1 and part 2. Let's have a look at these first of all. So obviously you've got these units. The only useful units in here, Summer Nael, definitely going to be the most important unit in this. So if you don't have her, make sure to select her in here if you don't have her yet. And then I've selected Sea Princess Lilah because she's got new insight, which has potential to be useful, mostly for PvP. If you don't care about PvP, then don't bother, you don't really need her. But she's probably going to be more useful than these two, because these are just damage dealers, these two are just damage dealers that you don't need, so these two units are probably the only units that are going to be useful, but this unit is the most important one. This one needs testing first. And I want to have a look at the Arks next, because I don't think I have any of these. So I just want to have a brief look. I'm not going to go super in depth, I just want to have a brief look to see if anything in here is useful. Just remind myself, because I don't have these. Orgon Ring could be used on Balezar. Could be nice. And that's probably about it, honestly. Pretty much. Yeah, this really doesn't have too much to it. This one, Claw Boost. I don't have Claw Boost, so that would be nice. Summer Boot Camp. I believe that takes a long time. I don't remember, but I've never seen anyone use it, so I don't think it's that great. And then Ice Mega Drive's pretty nice. Arcade Rewards. Never used it. But this one's at least better than Paradise Rubel. And then this one's probably the best one, if I remember correctly. Skill and special damage, cut damage taken, duration of debuffs, learnable skills, Ice Weak Point Breakthrough, Ice Ensemble is a big one, Ice Critical Raise, Two-Handed Spear Boost 2, and then the Arcade Reward is okay because it gives more defense, some damage cap, so yeah. I think the most important arc, well, the best arc from here is definitely going to be the Heroic Spirits Vacation. And then the next one is going to be Heatwave Wars. And then Paradise Rubel, you don't really need that one. I think these two are probably the most useful ones. Do you need them? Probably not. Is it worth doing a couple of pulls? It's up to you. But I think for Heroic Spirits Vacation, it might be worth a couple of single pulls to maybe get this one. Because Ice Ensemble, I believe this arc is the only one that has Ice Ensemble. I don't know if any other arc has it. But it's a pretty good one. Weak Point Breakthrough, Ice Ensemble, Two-Handed Spear Boost 2, and the weapon. I mean, it doesn't have anything super crazy, honestly. And then you've got Heatwave Wars that has Claw Boost and Ice Mega Drive. So you do have some. They're okay. I would say it's not worth chasing. Don't chase for them. If you feel like that they're going to benefit your accounts in some way, then maybe do a couple of single pulls. If you're missing Nael as well, then you could do a couple of single pulls if you're missing Nael on one of these arcs. So yeah, I feel like Nael and Heroic Spirits Vacation are probably going to be the two that I would recommend to do a couple of single pulls on, because they're going to be quite nice to have on your account. So I would consider that to be a, you know, a thought at least. But if you've got those already, don't worry about that one. And then this one, Seva's just a damage dealer, but I know some people have been using her. And then you've got Summer Sarah. Summer Sarah is definitely the best unit from here, so get her, select her if you don't have her yet. And now let's have a look at the Arks. Nothing crazy for the traits. This one has Hydro Shell, which is decent, honestly. Bird Shield, Oil Coating, Fishbuster, and this one is not that amazing. It doesn't have that much, honestly. Hydro Shell in it, nah, it's not that good. And then this one, give all allies a physical damage buff and a non-thunder damage, magic damage taken minus 50% buff. That's decent for like PvP, I suppose. I have used that a couple of times. Physical damage to tasty type enemies. Fast Vacation 2, no. That one, not that great either. It's mostly for the trait, but yeah, I don't think that's really worth getting either. The status element team, well, honestly, you only need one status element unit. You don't need both Shift Labyreth, Summer Labyreth, and Arch being melee. You only need one of them, really, because one is already enough. You should replace the other one with a full physical damage dealer, because they're mostly meant to be element support units, I think. Like, yeah, Shift Labyreth could be a damage dealer, but it needs more testing on that front, and you're much better off using someone like Callan or a main damage dealer to put in that team. I would recommend for sure. So the last arc, I have this one. I know that for a fact. This is the only one that I have. And I feel like this one might be the most useful one in here as well for the learnable skills, because it has Counter Shield 2 and Earth Mega Drive, God Rush 3. And the Twin Blade Amulet, I never really have a chance to use it, but it's okay, it's decent. So I think the best unit and arc in this banner is going to be Summer Sarah and Seaside Drive. Anything else you don't really need. Don't worry about it. I know there's a lot of stuff in here, but most of it you don't really need. Don't worry about it. If you have Sarah and Seaside Drive, then just skip everything else. That's what I would recommend. And same situation here, if you have Summer Nael and Heroic Spirit Vacation, you don't really need anything else. I'm going to be doing a couple of single pulls on this. I've already done a couple. I didn't get anything, but I would like to try and get one of these limited arcs, because Heroic Spirit's Vacation, I would like to have this one quite a lot. Heatwave Wars, maybe, but Lilah, getting Lilah or this arc, it would be nice. And if you have a look at the probability, by the way, 1.2% for the units, and the arc has 1.2% as well, so it's a bit higher than normal, so maybe do a couple of single pulls. And both of these Part 1 and Part 2 banners have shared pity medals, finally. About time. So yeah, mostly the takeaway from this is ignore most of these units and arcs. There's only like a couple that are useful. Heroic Spirit's Vacation, Heatwave Wars is alright, and Seaside Drive are like 3 decent ones, I think, and Heroic Spirit's Vacation being the best one out of the 3, and Summer Nael being the best unit out of all of these units too, as well as Summer Sarah. So that's all you really need to worry about and think about, but they're not necessary at all. They would just be the only useful units and arcs that I would recommend to at least do a couple single pulls, maybe. Up to you. I'm not going to say pull. You're better off skipping these unless you have a couple spares, up to you, but you don't need any of them, honestly. So, that is everything in regards to the Redux. It's been almost an hour and a half and I haven't even gone to the summons yet, which is kind of interesting. So, now let's start doing some summons. I'm hoping this goes well, because I would really like to get both this unit and the Ark, because they both seem very useful to me. Is Shift Labyreth a must pull? Hardly any unit is a must pull in this game. The very few must pull units are like Shift Lelouch and when Lilah released, and Spirit Man and Sarah and Shift Linus are like the only must pulls, really. I don't consider it a must pull, but I do consider it to be a valuable banner, and because of that, it's worth to throw a couple of crystals. only once you've used every single ticket, and wait for part 2 because they could update the events and give more tickets later on. So wait for the moments, but it is, I can say for a fact that it is at least worth a couple of, you know, single pulls to try and get one of the two, hopefully. In 6 days, Balezar's banner, well, Balezar is mostly for PvP. If you care about PvP, then Balezar might be a must pull. Up to you. I don't think there's going to be any reds in here, but let's see anyways. Yeah, definitely not. It's only going to go up to a gold, but whatever. I doubt I get anything. There's only 7 tickets available right now. There's no more tickets, which kind of sucks. I wish there was a 10 pull ticket somewhere, but there's not. Balezar is pretty damn good, but he isn't as good in PvE content. As expected, no reds. Unless one turns red randomly, it's probably not going to happen. Yep. Still confused about how laceration works, yeah. I haven't tested it out yet. I'm going to be going in the unit test play quest a bit later on to get an understanding of how that works. So now let's do the step gacha. I don't know how many I'm going to do in here. We're going to wait and see. I'm going to skip this unless it looks promising, and that's not promising. There's no free 10 pull, but there is a 10 pull for 1000 after lap 1, and then another 10 pull for 2000, which I'm probably going to do both of those. Maybe. Nope. Oh? No. I knew it. I knew it's going to be dupes. I knew it. I wish it wasn't, but damn it, Daniel. Stupid. I hate dupes. I really do. I wish the rate up was better. There's Tharia, which is a better sign, but it's only a blue, so there's not going to be anything in here when I watch anyways. If I were to get one or the other, which one would I prefer? Well, I'm not gonna complain. Okay, there's nothing in here. See, it needs animations. Even then, it's not guaranteed. Also, I will be doing some more summons with free crystals, but I'm not going to go super hard because I know for a fact that I can do daily single pulls, and there might be some more tickets later on, so I'm trying to be like a bit more, you know, take my time a little bit. But I'm gonna do step 1, maybe step 2 as well. Actually, I'll do step 1 first. I did say I did want to try to get both of her pates, because they seem pretty good, only if I have the unit. There's a gold, but that doesn't mean anything, because it could still stay there, and it's probably likely. Yeah, it's likely. 2 animations, there's a chance for a red, there's a 3 animations, could be a red, but it's not guaranteed still, because there's Zekers, and there's a red. Doesn't matter if it's a unit or an arc, as long as it's new. There's 3, please be go up new. That's ridiculous. That's the same arc that I got a moment ago, that's annoying. How is there nothing new? That's ridiculous, that's crazy. What are you smoking, game? There should have been at least something new in there. It really should have. Like, I feel like I'm probably going to be using the medals on tickets. I don't know if I'm going to be pitying. I don't know. I'm still like contemplating my decisions, but I'll do this one. That'll be the final one for paid crystals for now. I'm not going to do any more with paid crystals. If we don't get anything from this, which we probably won't, but I don't know. I'm not going to finish my sentence because I'm going to wait and see first. Because if I say what I think I'm going to say, the game's going to say, we're not going to give it to you. No extra animation. There's 2. Please go up. No. And another no. This is stupid. I've had a lot of reds, but so many dupes. It just... A lot of games have like a 50-50 system. This game, no. 0.8% out of 3% for the unit, and then the chance for the Ark, 0.8% out of 5%. I'm gonna do some more summons with 3 crystals, and I'm actually gonna do a temple once in my life with 3 crystals. Never seen that before, have you? No. But I'm gonna do some more, because I want to try to get at least one of them if possible. If I can get the unit or the Ark, then I will be saving afterwards, and waiting until towards the end of the events, so I can do some more single pulls and stuff like that, and tickets, to hopefully get the other one. That's the plan, but plan never works, you see, because there's no red in this one either. Terrible. Awful. Come on, 3, you have to give a red this time. There's a blue again. I don't like seeing blues. I hate blues unless they're dark blues, but you can't do a dark blue in this banner, because there aren't any. 1, 2, 3 animations probably still don't matter, does it? Nope, see? Stays gold. It's frustrating. Terrible. Well, getting the limited arc is still pretty solid, honestly. I'm starting to feel like the Rhea at this point really doesn't matter, because she hasn't been giving me good luck at all today. Please give more animations than the red, so I can get something new. There's a red. Please be new. I need something new. There's an arc. Can you be the limited arc? It's probably not. It's more likely not. It's more than likely gonna not be it, because a 5%, 0.8%, yeah, nah. That's what I thought. I'm gonna do one more. The Rhea. Blue. Yeah, there's nothing in here either. Probably not. Well, 30 pulls to get the arc is pretty damn good, I have to say that. But if you look at what it's doing for me, it's doing terribly. Can't get anything from this so far. And it's probably still going to be the case. See? This sucks. It just sucks. I want to try and get one of them, so then I can, you know, try and get the other one from daily pulls and tickets, but I don't think this is going to happen, is it? I'm going to move over to the poor man's summon, and that is single pulls, because we know how that works. A lot better than temples, in my experience. Not always. I'm going to be saving my medals for the moment. I'm only going to watch these animations and if they look super promising. And I know what that means. Got nothing with 4 tickets, yeah, well. Get all the tickets. Code Geass rerun is probably not going to happen for a long time. Oh man. Yeah, there's no temple ticket. We don't even know if there's going to be one. I mean, there's a chance it could be in part 2, but I don't know. They are pretty stingy with limited tickets for summer and Christmas, I believe, so... I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We can't predict the future, so it's just a wait and see kind of situation. Because there's not a server that's ahead of us, so we can't like predict what's going to happen. Yeah, I haven't done the unit test play quest and stuff yet. I do want to do that, but I wanted to try to get something from this banner first, which it seems like it's not happening today, and never will it? No, apparently not. I did want to try and get this unit. Am I going to leave this banner without the unit is the question I'm asking myself. I don't really want to leave. I don't want to skip this unit. And that's like one of the first times. I'm going to do this one. Come on. There's no way there's no red in here. I shouldn't have said that, because now there's not going to be one. Oh, there is. I thought there wasn't, because no animation is usually bad. Don't do it to me. Have we got a single unit this entire time? I don't think so. There's a 3% chance for a unit, and I don't think there's been a single unit this entire time, which is weird. There's a 5% chance for an arc. It still sucks. Yeah, I'm definitely going to end up getting both of these, for sure. 100%. Because I might as well, because I'm already close enough. I would have to do 9 pulls. I'm not going to do that yet. You know why? Because I could save 300 paid crystals by doing single pulls. Or I could just do this 10 pull now and get it done. I don't know. I'm trying to consider like the smartest way to do this. And I don't really know. Okay, I'm gonna do some more single pulls for a little while, see if we can get something from it, and then yeah, this is terrible. The daily single pull doesn't give the credentials, only step gacha and the paid crystal single pulls. It would have been nice if it could, but that would have been very cheap if that was the case. Oh man, terrible, very bad. I was hoping it would at least get one thing by now, because I've had a hell of a lot of reds, but not much else. And literally nothing else. Yeah. 2 more reds. Well, you said it. But is it happening? I'm not going to be... There's something. Okay, good. Great. Love that. You know what that means? You know what the good news is? I don't need to pity this unit, which means I can save the paid crystals now. You lied. That wasn't 2 reds, that was 1. Well, I'm not going to be pulling anymore. But I lied, so that was a lie just now. I'm not actually going to be stopping, because I need to get her paid accessory now. And you know what? Is it worth 100 more pulls to get the Ark guaranteed? Probably not. No. Yeah. Well, I don't sound that impressed because it still felt painful to do that. But let's do these 9 single pulls if I can count to 9. And then I think that'll be it. What if you get another red and it's the Ark? Yeah, well, you can say that, but it's not happening. You're gonna make me pull another red. Is single pull better than 10 pull? Yes. Well, technically they're the same, but the reason why a single pull is better is because there's no benefit from doing a 10 pull. You don't get any extra free stuff or anything from it. You only get the SR plus, which is the same chance for a red. And if you were to get the thing that you wanted on one of the earlier orbs in a 10 pull, you could have saved those crystals, you know. Come on. Yeah, there's no more reds. It's not happening. It's really not. 10 pulls just makes you waste your crystals even faster. 2 more single pulls, and then we have the paid accessory, and then I can stop for now. Nope. That was the last one. Yeah, because in most games, they want you to do 10 pulls. No, there's nothing in there. I'm gonna skip that. Well, there's no more reds. Now, here's the question. Would I be willing to go to 200 summons to guarantee the Ark, or should I trade for a 10 pull ticket instead to try and get it? Yeah, I think the best answer is just to save them for now, which patience is very difficult to have sometimes. But yeah, I'll try to save, try to wait for now, I suppose. Still kind of sucks though that I had to do 111, but it could have been worse, and I'm at least glad that we got the unit, which is, honestly, I feel like the unit is the one thing that I wanted more than the Ark, so I can't complain. And there should hopefully be some more tickets later. So yeah, I'll call that there for today at least, and then I can save everything else for whatever's coming up next. Yeah, if the ticket included Arks, you can select a limited Ark. You know, that reminds me, the one thing I haven't done yet, that I said I would have considered doing, is these banners. I kind of want to do a couple pulls on this banner. Now, I know I said I would stop, but that's not what I meant. I meant on that banner. Getting Heroic Spirit Vacation could be pretty nice. And if I were to get the unit, wouldn't complain too much. There aren't any, there are no tickets or anything for this banner. So if you want to get anything at all from these banners, then the only way is crystals. So, and you can't even trade for Redux tickets or anything. So kind of screwed. I'll just go do a couple of these. If I get one red, then I will move on from there, I think. And I know we have a select ticket that I haven't used yet. I'm aware of that. I would just like one of these Arks if possible. Mainly the one that I've selected would be very nice. But I'm not going to be going super hard. I'm just going to try and get one red at least. And then that's it. And then we're done for today. Temporarily. And then we can move on to the thing that I actually want to do. Are any of the old summer units good? Well, yes. I talked about it a bit earlier. The best summer units are Summer Nael and Summer Sarah. I think Summer Nael would be my #1 option, honestly. Because Anima, SCT regen, stuff like that for PvP is pretty useful. Yeah, well, the other ones, you don't need them. They're useless. Maybe Lilah's insight ends up being decent, but apart from that, don't need any of them. You can just skip all of those. Oh, come on, why are you a blue? I want you to be a gold, so then go up to a red, then I can be done with this. Hell. Looks worse than F-Zekers. Yeah, well, I have to tell you something. May shock you, or not. Look at Saintly Theria. It's going to be the main thing I have to say about that. That's my answer to that. Look at Saint Etheria and how she ended up. Her base kit doesn't look that crazy, but people have managed to make her hit very hard in Arena, so it's a possibility. This is terrible, by the way. I feel like I would have gotten one by now, but whatever. Okay, I'm gonna watch that one. Oh, not enough animations on that one. Needed to have at least 2 or 3 and then it had a chance, but nah. Okay, I'm gonna just try and go through this quickly now, so then we can get this done and I can move on to the showcase. I just want to get 1 red. And that's all. It never happens though, does it? No, never. I bet you that if I were to get something new to pop up, it's not going to be the Ark. It's not going to happen. But is it even going to get one to begin with? Because that's the problem. Yeah, I know, but I don't like to do that. Like, it would be a lot of pulls, right? And it's random anyway, so it's really not going to matter. For sure, no. I have my beliefs. I'm sticking by it. The facts are 10 pulls are useless. The only reason a 10 pull is there is just to speed it up. It's the only reason. You know, I don't want to do this anymore now. In this case, maybe, but this sucks. I haven't even gotten a red yet. That's what sucks about this. 42. Nah, I don't like the way Labyreth talks. It's annoying. That's why she's not my favourite advocate of God. She was my least favourite, honestly. Let's just do... I need to get a red. I'm still sticking by that, because the Ark's pretty good. I don't have any other chance to get this Ark. Nope. Yeah, well there you go. See? Single pulls works. For that guy, at least. Well... Can it just be a red now? No? I don't understand why... Yeah, that's the best way to play this game. Only doing single pulls ever. That's the best way to play. And the best way to play is to not pull on this banner. Because this banner sucks. Yeah, well that's why You don't listen to my single pool advice. Single pools are way more. Okay, I think we should just move on. And I know it sucks, but I feel like I should be not doing any more of this and going over to the showcase next. Otherwise I'm going to be here all day. Okay, well, does that count? Because it was a gold, and then it was a red. It wasn't a gold. It wasn't a red though, was it? You didn't see it. It was gold. So it didn't happen. So I can continue. That's the logic. Nah, I'm not that stupid. May sound like it. Sometimes. Okay, I'm not gonna do any more. I'm gonna start showcasing some stuff. Wait a minute. Yeah, that was from, I don't remember. Why is that icon, why is these icons showing up? I don't know why these icons are showing up.
I'll make it
Weird.
work.
Probably just because... You're lying. You're lying. It's not new. It's not new, you're lying. I've had these before. Many times. I just want to find... I want to find you. Put this on. And now I can go to Steam. I'm going to do that now. And then I want to start showcasing some stuff. Because that would be better. There we go. Great wallpaper, by the way. I love this one. Right. So, what should I do first? Well, I think I should definitely, what does YouTube do with last Cloudia recording size? Well, it's the screen in the middle. That's what it does, size-wise. Like, if I just remove, that's all it does. Like, it looks boring, right? That's why I have it. Because otherwise it looks boring that way. This looks more interesting. This is boring. This is interesting. But, yeah, it's... I had to add some form of background, otherwise it would just be a bunch of nothingness. Magical instruments. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to be using a potion this time. Rainbow potion time. 100%. Almost at level 51. Takes a long time now to level up. Anything past 50 takes a long time. I should have enough materials for this. More 800 physical damage cap. That's pretty nice. For sure. That should be everything in here for now. And then, I'm missing 3 because I probably need more books. I never make enough books. Good thing we have this magic button now. If you can't tell, I've been farming books from one of the storage stages on auto. Auto farming makes it so much easier. Hell of a lot easier. Here we go, right. So, base skills 120 already. I want to have a look at her equipment. So, obviously, you're going to be using a bow and an ice weapon. Her paid equipments are going to be the best ones to use 100%, but I do want to look at alternatives and like what are you going to be using for her second weapon as well? Well, Cactus Hammer. Cactus Hammer is the best one for stun if you want the stun build, which you probably should because stun's pretty damn good overall. Any other bows is what I also want to have a look at, but I know there's the ice bow that I didn't craft yet, and there is this one which gives some critical rate and some slayer damage, some slayers, so it could be okay, I suppose. But yeah, there aren't too many. Yeah, no, not an ice bow, but it doesn't have to be ice bow. You could use a bow and then any second ice weapon. So I'm gonna have a quick look at if there's any like ice. You know what I'm thinking you could do is you could use this one. This one's gonna be good. This one's for sure because the more ice physical damage, it's gonna be great. So I feel like you could use this plus that other bow, but you're definitely much better off using a ice bow plus the cactus hammer if you want more stun. That's probably going to be your best bet, I think. She can't equip hammers yet, so you definitely need to teach her hammer equip, and what's good is that she's a shifter unit, so I've already got everything taught. I can just put on hammer equip and then give her cactus hammer. And this is going to be my new ailments unit. Parasol Staff. Yeah, I didn't get that one yet. I know that one is a useful one. I just haven't gotten it from the event. I know it's from the events that you can get. I just haven't gotten it yet because I don't know why. Yeah, Chronicles, what I mean. You can get it from there, but I haven't gotten it yet just because I haven't felt like I've needed to use it yet. But it should have been ice. It would have made sense if it was ice. Doesn't really make sense that it's not ice. Let's have a quick look at ice elements. Treasured Sword, Phantom Ice Blade. Yeah, most are swords, honestly. Most are ice swords. Then you got terrible ones like... If you've got this, then you could use this if you have it. I know it's from an event. I don't... Actually, this might be from Chronicles too, now I think about it. Yeah, it's from Chronicles. So you could get this one as like a super free-to-play accessible ice bow, so technically there's options, I suppose. Yeah, I know why it's in... I know how it's in Chronicles, because this account hasn't been around for Christmas yet. So it doesn't have access to any Christmas units or anything yet. So I definitely got this from the Christmas Chronicles event. Yeah, that's pretty much it for ice weapons at least. And then obviously, if you already have an ice weapon, which you probably should if you're going for more ice damage and that stuff, then second weapon could be like Cactus Hammer. If you just care about ailments and you don't need an ice weapon, then you could just go for Cactus Hammer plus anything really. But there are not many weapons that can apply ailments. That's the thing. There is a Mealheads, but that's a collab claw, and there's also the poison claw, but poison isn't really that useful, and that's dark claw as well. So there aren't really that many that I can think of for ailments. So you kind of don't have many options if you want more ailments, right? But if you don't care about that, or if you just don't have those options, then you're probably better off to just have Cactus Hammer and an Ice Bow or something like that. I think that's going to be what most players should use, because Cactus Hammer, applying stun is going to be very useful. I mean, you don't have to use a Cactus Hammer. If you just want to use her as a damage dealer and not worry about stun, then you don't need Cactus Hammer, and you'll be better off using any other weapon, like a sword, for instance. Going to be better off using that instead. If you don't have a paid weapon, then just use any Ice Bow, I think. And there is a Godforge Ice Bow that you could get, which is pretty decent, so that's an option as well. But yeah, the one Ice Bow. I'm going to leave it here for now. This is what I'm going to be using for like most content with her. Cactus Hammer plus her paid weapons are going to be the best for ailments, for sure. And then accessories. Obviously you've got her paid accessory, but you don't need it. The other alternatives, there aren't really that many good ones for ailments, really. So probably just going to be looking out for ice damage and physical damage. Godforge 1 is the only way. Yeah, well, the event Ice Bow is what I was talking about, like this one, so either this or the Godforge one is kind of your only options for Ice Bow, I think. And then obviously the paid one. So I can think of one good accessory, and it is a free-to-play accessible one. Well, yeah, the event one that I was talking about is the one that I mentioned that was in Chronicles, so you don't need to worry about that. This one, Hexil of the Ice God, is very good for ice damage dealers, especially for Summer Labyreth. It's going to be very good, because ice attack damage 12%, more intelligence, even more intelligence. This one could be perfect, so I'd probably put this one on for more damage. This one's going to be very good, for sure. Make sure to get that. Everyone can get it, it just takes some time to farm the materials and Godforge it, but you can get it eventually. And then just anything else for like ailments or skill, physical, ice damage, that kind of stuff, really. And one thing that's kind of important as well, if you want to build her for just ailments, then you could put on the Elder King mask, because this prevents skills from being used, which means she's going to be using her normal attacks all the time, and debuffs, like that's what AI does, but she's going to be normal attacking all the time if you put that on, so that's going to be a good combo if you want her to be just normal attacking. Yes, she can inflict ailments with her skills, but pretty much all the time, having a chance to inflict, the chance of inflicting ailments with your skills is usually a lot lower than normal attacks, and I believe I checked it on Goldmine like a couple of weeks ago because I was curious, and research skills have a higher chance than skills that have a chance to inflict ailments on your physical attacks or skills, because normal attacking usually has a higher chance for whatever reason. Like, if you could just reliably inflict stun with your skills, that would be quite insane, right? But I still feel like you're going to need to normal attack. So yeah, I think Elder King Mask isn't going to be the best option for this unit, because she does benefit from using skills too, but it's an option if you only care about stun, and you can just use her for stun and her anima, and use Elder King Mask, and then that's all you really need, really, for the unit. So you could do that build, and that's like a very simple build for stun, very simple, but it's an option if you just care about reliable ailments and stun. That's probably what I would do. But if you want to try and mix in some extra damage for your team as well, then maybe using some of her skills is going to be nice too. So I'm going to be using these equipments right now. Obviously there are alternatives, it really depends on what you have, but try to get an ice bow, because there are like 1 or 2 accessible ones that you can get for an ice bow. And then Cactus Hammer, everyone has Cactus Hammer. It's from the story or somewhere. It's very easy to get, that everyone should have, that's very useful. Only useful if you're going for stun, but stun is just such a valuable element, especially for Battlegraph Simulator that I'm going to be using it in most cases. But if you don't want to do that, and obviously, like I said earlier, use any other weapon like a sword or something. Having a second ice weapon would be good, because then more normal attacks, more normal attack damage, but it shouldn't really matter too much. Right, so I'm going to go with this. Let's see what her stats look like right now. Should be decent. Not really. Let's awaken as much as we can, I suppose. Yeah, the Kraken crest. Basically any crest. I am kind of curious what her damage looks like, because I don't expect her damage to be that insane. But I'm ready to be surprised at least. And that would be the last awaken for now. Got 8 stuff. Right, so now I want to start showcasing some things. So I want to showcase her in the story stage first, just to kind of give you an idea of like her base damage in a story stage at this, this build. It's not really a build, but base skills and stuff. Yeah, the skill 2 kind of sucks. Don't use it. It's not going to be very good. But I will go into the unit test play quests afterwards. But first of all, I do want to try her by herself in a story stage, like I always do when I get the unit, just because it's fun for testing at least. I know what arc I'm going to be using on her. Seas World. Chance of research skills activating, plus 3% extra chance. I'm going to be using that on her in the Battlegraph Simulator 100%. It's going to be great. For now though, I don't think it really matters too much what I use. So I'm just going to use Soul Blade because it's easy. Because I know she has SET in her kit when she applies elements, so she should have no problems with SET in here. Let's finish this up. And then start going in a story stage and just try routes. I've been leveling up some units and working on getting every single SSR arc to 100, arc ether. I need to do that, so I'm working on that slowly. It's going to take a long time though. Yeah, I basically never have to worry about gold anymore. It's great. It's awesome. Right. Let's go in here. Try her out by herself. Yeah, it's a good point. I haven't done Casino because it's kind of boring. But now we have infinite gold, basically. It would be a good time to do that. So, I just want to try her out in this stage real quick, just to see what the damage is looking like. And obviously the SCT regen is going to be quite insane. And you can see how slow the skill 2 is, kind of sucks. It's not very good. I wish it was better. These elements are crazy. I do like it. It's going to be very good. Yeah, well they do have 0 resistance, so this isn't really the best showcase because most bosses have nil and then you reduce it to res, so it's cool. I'm going to try that one more time, and this time I'm going to use Council of 10, and then I'm going to use her skills only, just her skills, and see if I can spot any elements from using her skills alone. That's going to be the plan. Actually, you know what? Forget that idea, I can just use Honey Elixir, it's a lot easier. Yeah. She could be a Honey Elixir battery, unit too. That would be fun. Even though we have Lena, so yeah. So I'm not going to be doing any normal attacks this time. I just want to try her skills and see elements. Blind. There's stun and illness. Perfect. Love that. There's a stun and illness again, and of course, and blind. Wow, that was a lot from that one skill 3, honestly. All of that from a skill 3. Love that. I like her skill 3 animations, definitely a very good animation. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, these are weak enemies, but the fact that she managed to stun all 3 enemies from like a couple skills, pretty nice. That does make me at least hopeful. It makes me hopeful. Yeah, the hit count. Well, I'm remembering something, but I think... Yeah, I think the difference is, when you have a skill in the unit's kit, the skill 1, 2, or 3, that has a chance to inflict an ailment, I think that has a chance, like, on a specific hit, like at the end of the skill or something, it has a specific chance at that one point. But with the skills that Shift Labyreth has, it's not the same. It should be a percentage chance per hit, right? So I'm going to do this one more time, and then we'll go over to the unit test play quests and try out in there. And I didn't even use Anula Melf, and I bet if I do that... Actually, her skill 3 seems like it groups enemies together, like look at that. That could be pretty good. Pretty good. I probably got lucky last time. There's another stun proc. I saw it, because that icon did the thing. There's a stun. There's another stun. It's pretty good though. I'm kind of a little bit surprised that the stun is proccing so much just on skills alone. But maybe it's just been luck so far. I don't know. Well, let's leave that there for now. I'm going to go into the unit test play quests for this unit, and I also need to have a look at the insight unit as well afterwards. But let's look at this first. So, of course she has the new Ark in here. Yeah, you could use Shift Labyreth and Arch being melee, but I feel like it's unnecessary. And you're much better off having one of them, and then the second unit being a full physical damage dealer for maximum DPS, I think. But she has this, which doesn't give any damage, by the way, and doesn't give any damage caps, so it's not the best Ark choice for her, honestly. And of course she would have I have many questions. Why? Are you seeing this? This doesn't make sense to me. Has anyone seen this? Has anyone noticed this? Why have they put clothes on her? I know she needs it because she's kind of naked right now, but it's besides the point. The point is she has dual wield in her kit. She has dual wields in her kit, and they put clothes on and make her single wield. That is probably why this showcase is probably going to suck balls heavily, because they build her wrong, which is dual wield. they should build her dual wield and not single wield. Single wield is not even going to be viable. They give every test DPS that clothing. I don't think... That's not what I mean. I mean, when a unit has dual wield in their kit, Adis has always given them 2 weapons. And this is a case where they put dual wield on the kit, in the unit's kit, and they don't use the dual wield. Like, I don't understand. Because this also means you're going to get a bad showcase of this unit. Because you're not going to have a good showcase whatsoever of this, because it just kind of sucks. Every time, regardless of dual wield, they give them Draping Raiments. No. How? They don't do that. That would be stupid. If I go show Insight Unit Test Play Quests and go to... See? 2 weapons. Dual wield. 2 weapons. I don't know what they're smoking, but it's definitely wrong. They should not be using the damn cloves. It's just weird. Oh, anyway, let's go back to there. I'm just kind of annoyed that this won't be able to be a proper showcase because they decided to put on cloves instead of a second weapon, which they should have done. Yeah, here's the thing that kind of sucks though, is Adis wants the showcase to show the unit's best potential, right? But this isn't doing that. This is showcasing not even their best builds, right? Because it's single wield. Let's just go into this and stop complaining, because I've had enough complaining. I could be here all day asking why do they make him single wield when she should be dual wield. But I'll never know. There's absolutely nothing in her kit that is tying her to single wield, by the way. But yeah, her ailments application is not going to be very good in this showcase because they built her single wield, and as you know, dual wield doubles the hit count, which doubles the amount of hits that you have to inflict an ailment. So got leaner enough MP to single wield enough MP. That's awesome. I still don't even think that's even worth doing, but sure, if you want to do that, it's probably going to be good. But okay, silence on the first hit, and curse on the second hit, and blind on the third hit, and silence on the fourth hit, silence on the fifth hit, nothing on the sixth hit. But it does have a lot of weakness, so. Her normal attacks aren't very spammable. It's only 3 hits. I wish it was like 4, a bit more hits and a bit more spammable, but it's still a pretty good normal attack because it's long range and it pierces, so it's still going to be useful for sure. Yeah, well, single wield is going to be better if you can manage to get it to give enough MP for Honey Elixir. That's the challenge though. Like, yes, single is going to be a slightly bit better, but like the effort, the work that you have to do in the builds that you have to make for doing that is more difficult than dual wield. Dual wield is just a lot easier. That's just the thing. You're just copium. You're just big copium at this point. That's what I'm gonna say it. Let's try her skills out now. Also, her anima, I should be using that too. Now she's gonna do even more damage. So, the damage cap, yes, it's very low, but I have to say, this is because they built her single wield, and as a dual wield unit, her damage cap's going to be a lot more acceptable, I think, as a dual wield unit. Because if she's reaching like 100,000 dual wield, it's not bad. Could be better, but it's not bad. Her skill 1 is definitely quite good. I mean, it's not the best. Also, laceration. What the hell is it? And does it show up? It doesn't show up as an icon. Why? does it not show up as an icon? And how do I even know that the enemy has a laceration right now? Unless the claw effect was using, I don't know. Well, you know, that's weird, the fact that she has like the laceration effect, but it doesn't apply a debuff icon, at least one that I can't see right here. Took exactly 180 hits. Well, I'm gonna have to try that out. At the moment, I'm mostly looking at her skills. The skill 2. I'm gonna have a look at the range. Where'd he go? Yeah, so it starts out small and then it grows bigger. But it's still... Yeah, I don't like it. It just sucks. Because you have to be in the enemy's face. Actually, I know why they gave her this skill too. Because it pushes the enemy back so far. Like, if I use this here... Push the enemy back all the way over there. Which allows her to take advantage of her Maglion damage. So damage from long range. So yes, that has some, you know, utility, I suppose. It can be kind of useful for that case. But I would only ever use her skill 2 if an enemy is close and you want to get them further away, because it literally pushes them away. And then you can start using your other skills and have the max benefit from Maglion's damage. So that's going to be nice. Her skill 3 is definitely my favourite skill, for sure. Now let's try the special, because I haven't actually seen this yet. Also funny. Well, it was fun and all. Well, it's not many hit counts, is it? No. The hit counts of the special is kind of low, but it's mostly for the MP regen and SCD and that kind of stuff, so... Let me do this one more time. Going again, but... Yeah, I'm just a bit... It's just a bit weird that they made a single wield for absolutely no reason. Which is strange. So, I do want to have a look into the laceration of debuff effect and see if I can notice it. At the moment, I haven't been able to notice it very much. Let's use a Lilah Mouth this time. Use a skill 3, see if I can inflict any ailments from that. That's done. So, okay. So she definitely needs the damage from like Terramouth skills to be able to hit her damage cap, because you saw there, the first skill 3 that I used, the first couple of hits were not hitting damage cap until the enemy got a status ailment. So she definitely needs the damage from the status ailments, like Terramouth. I'm gonna just stare at the health bar and see if I can notice a big drop in HP, and that would be the laceration debuff, wouldn't it? I saw it. I saw that. I want a slow motion replay of that, which I can't actually do right here, which I could do in editing, but I can't do in live stream, so it's sad, but... I'm gonna try and have a look. Just stare at the health bar, or at this number. Is it gonna proc again? Probably not. No. So it only proc once. So it does seem like it's not going to be overpowered, which was expected. But here's another thing. No, let me just go back to laceration real quick. I believe it says when skill attacking. What that makes me think is per hit. So per hit gives the debuff. So that means when dual wielding, you'll give even more laceration debuffs. You'll like give the double amount technically. That's what it makes me think of, because otherwise it would say when using a skill, or like when using a skill, after you've used a skill, it will inflict this amount of debuffs. I believe it's per hit. It gives laceration count. So I definitely want to tread out on some, like, you know what? I could try it out on just some random boss stage. I think that would probably be the best thing to do. With a terrible non-built build. Take him into Kraken or something. Well, I have to say, I don't remember where every single boss is, so yeah. In the world map. I at least know I could just go for a random stage in here, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, I could go Battlegraph, but I didn't want to worry about that. I'm just going to go into one of the stages that I know has one stage, which is one of these two. That's on 0, yeah, but I don't know where that is because I don't remember. Well, high ice resist does. Here's another question that I don't know the answer to: is laceration ice, or does it count as non-attribute? Because it doesn't say that it's an ice attribute. It just says it reduces HP, so I don't think it's an attribute. I think it just reduces HP by a certain amount. So technically, I could hit an 100 ice resistance boss and keep inflicting ailments. Which, this is a terrible stage for it. Never mind. But I'm just saying, you could keep inflicting the laceration, and you don't technically have to do damage. You just need to keep inflicting the debuff, right? Good enough. I don't want to do damage. I just want to do as many hits as I can and see it. Just look at this health bar, or it's the number, and I'm gonna have a look and see if you can see a large HP drop. That's what I'm curious about, at least. So it's only when skill attacking, remember that. I do kind of want... I should be using a skill too. Hi. 2,300 is a hell of a lot, yeah. That's what I knew it was a lot, I just wasn't sure how much. Is it gonna proc anytime soon? Because I would like to see it proc. It doesn't wanna. It doesn't wanna. At this point, I'm gonna need a Lilah in my team. So, which is annoying. I see. She's still getting MP and SCT because it's every time it's a new one. I haven't noticed it yet. Don't worry, it's gonna happen soon. I'm sure it will. I thought it would have procced by now, unless it has, and I just haven't seen it. I don't know. How hard is it to proc? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, oh, there it is. I saw it. You saw that big chunk of HP go down. I wasn't even attacking there. I think. I think it was before I used the skill 3, right? Huh. I'm gonna see if it can do it again. I'm just doing this for testing purposes, okay? It's not a good showcase. I'm just trying to see exactly what it does. Probably not gonna proc a second time, but I will be able to use this now, which will give all my SCT back and some MP, so it happened immediately when you touch the skill 3 button. Well, you know what? That means that it is every time you use a skill, isn't it? It's not going to be per hit, if that's the case, because if it's as soon as I touch the button, then I don't think the skill 3 would have hit by then. It wouldn't have. So it's probably after you use a skill, like every time you use a skill you get... I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know. That was funny. I'm gonna try and... because I feel like it did activate one time in the unit test play quest when one of my attacks were going on. But maybe I was spamming a skill, I don't remember. Good thing I have Honey Elixir now. Yeah, wait for ladies definitely. Good idea. I just wanted to mess around with this a little bit to get a better understanding of how this works. Because I'm curious now if it is even going to activate a second time. And if it does, I don't think it's gonna. Well, there's a chance it could activate. I don't think it even comes up with a damage number. I think it just reduces HP, you know. Awesome. I'm loving the SCT and MP regen, by the way. It's amazing. There is a chance that the it activated. I'm gonna do it again. Let me try again. There is a chance that it activated immediately when I used it. Just bad coincidence, but I doubt that. I'm gonna do this one more time because I don't want to be here all day. I just want to test this out one more time, just to see if the same thing happens again, and when it procs and that kind of stuff. I wonder if you even need to hit the enemy, or if you just need to use a skill. It does seem to take a long time for it to activate. Yeah, it isn't doable without dual wheelchair. I've seen someone do it, but they had a lot of MP, and it was like over 2,000, it was a lot. Would you combo well with Arch being melee? Well, I would say it's not, you don't need to. It's not really a good combo, it's unnecessary really, because one element unit is already enough. Huh. I know it's gonna happen soon. It's gonna happen soon. If I take my eyes off of that health bar number, it's gonna happen and I'm gonna miss it. That's what it feels like. Oh, come on, don't slap me. It did it, yeah. It has to be. It did it the same. I feel like that the same thing happened the last time I did this. Around the same amount of health that the enemy has. Let me one more. I'm gonna do it quickly, but I'm pretty sure it just works weirdly. Like, it's very weird. I think it's like it builds up a give target enemy laceration count. When it's high enough, it activates it. Cuts HP. When it activates on the target, HP cup cap is increased by more. So when it's high enough, it activates it. When skill attacking, give target. I'm putting the Lego pieces together in my head. Here's what I'm understanding so far, right? So what I'm gathering from this is the enemy that you're targeting, right? The moment you press the skill button, I believe it inflicts a debuff on the enemy, which you can't see the icon of, and that is what the laceration account is. So you can't even see how much laceration the enemy has because there's no icon for it, which sucks. But I believe to the enemy you're targeting, the moment you press the skill button, it will give that enemy the laceration amount of laceration, right? And then after you've used a certain amount of skills, the enemy's laceration will be high enough, and then it will basically like use the buffs and do that effect for reducing HP. That's at least what I'm gathering so far, which works a bit different than I thought it would, because it doesn't seem like it's chance based and per hit, at least so far. But if I'm mistaken, I'm going to be doing it one more time to see if it activates any earlier than last time, or if it activates about exactly the same HP threshold that it did before. Because if it activates around the same and does the same thing as last time, then that is probably the case. It's every single time that you use a skill, it's not per hit. That's what I think so far, which isn't the best. Because that would mean it's not chance based, it's based on how many skills you use. Which, good and bad thing, I suppose. So last time it did it around like this point-ish, around here somewhere, the moment I press the skill button. And I'm wondering now, if you use maybe the count depends on what skill you use. Maybe the skill one is going to be the best one because it's faster. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just coming up with ideas. The past twice it activated on a skill 3. So I don't want to activate on a skill 3 this time. I'm going to try and activate on skill 1. Activate it again, yeah. The boss has exactly the same amount of HP, pretty much, than last time. So I think I have done enough testing to kind of understand what this does now. So it doesn't seem like it's a chance-based thing per hit, which means single-wield or dual-wield won't matter. It seems like it inflicts a debuff that you can't see the icon of the moment you press the skill button, and it's basically guaranteed, and then once it reaches a certain count, it will reduce HP, and then probably the count, I'm going to assume, based on what I've seen, is the count probably gets set to 0 again after it activates. That's what I'm assuming. So this isn't going to be overpowered at all. I think it's going to be okay, it's going to be decent, it's going to be some extra damage, but it's not going to activate that often, because it seems like it's when you use a skill. But the thing is, it doesn't say it here, it's different wording here, and that's what I'm a little bit confused about, is when I tested it, it was the moment I pressed the skill button, but what it says here is when skill attacking, so the wording is a bit off, right? Like when skill attacking. Now I'm a bit curious, do we have other similar type of effects that have the same wording of when skill attacking? I don't remember. Like when skill attacking. I know she has when physically attacking, but that's not really the same. I mean, it might... I don't know, I feel like the wording when skill attacking means like per hit, you know, like your skill attacks, like that's what it implies to me, but in testing at least didn't seem like that so far. Maybe there's a chance that maybe it still applies the debuff per hit, maybe, but then it activates once you use the skill, like that. Maybe that's how you activate it, I don't know, but that says when using a skill, and that says when skill attacking. So there's the difference there. So I think we kind of understand it now. I believe when using a skill, laceration count given to target enemy plus 100%. But it doesn't mean when it activates. When it's high enough activates, when skill attacking, when using a skill. This is all weird. Like, I'm going to leave it there because I think I've talked enough about this, and I still need to showcase the next unit, and it's 4 o'clock and it's getting quite late for me, so and it's almost 3 hours, so I need to get going. But I'm going to leave it there for Summer Labyreth right now. I think she's quite interesting and definitely some more testing, but the laceration effect is a bit weird because it was activating the moment I pressed the skill button and not on per hits and stuff like that, so... And it always seemed to activate around the same time, so it implies to me that it's not RNG based and it's more of just about how many skills you use. That's what it seems so far, but wait for Lake to update Goldmine and read that, and that's going to be a lot more useful. But for now, let's have a look at the new insight that was added today, and then we'll start finishing off. So, Sea Princess Lilah, not Lilah, but Lilah. She's got a new insight today. She is a mage-focused unit, kind of similar to Saintly Tharia in a way, because she also provides Team SCT regen, but she can also give like Hydro Shell buff and a physical damage buff as well to your entire team, so it's pretty nice. So I want to have a quick look at all of her base skills, what she has now. She has... her weapon has got an increase. It's got a buff, basically. They made her weapon stronger now. Increase damage even more, so it's got more ice damage, which is nice. So even though it's a bow, she's a mage and she uses a bow. It's pretty weird. She could have been a physical damage dealer. They could have went either way, but they decided to make her a mage, which I suppose is fine. She's got 120% ice damage in a trait 1. I don't need to go through all of this, but I want to have a look at what she has in her base kit now and try her out in the unit test play quest, and I don't know if she's going to be any good yet. Really going to have to wait and see for players to fully build her and try her out in places like Arena, because that's going to be the real deal breaker, I think. So, a bunch of magic spells. Absolute Zero, Diamond Dust, and Blizzard are the ice magic spells that she has. I'm not going to go through every single skill, but she does have some decent intelligence and MP skills. Brute Geyser's pretty nice. Grand Aura, Recast, Auto Heal, Backfire, Mega Boost, Giga Boost, Attack Raise 1, 2, and 4, and Critical Raise, Healing Mega Boost, because she does have God Heal, so she could be a healer technically. Immovable Object, High Level Magic Chart, and now one I know for a fact that Insight did give her is Ultimate Casting Cryosphere. This one's pretty good. This one was on Zeka's 4 gates, so it's kind of similar in that regards, I suppose. When using Ice non-stacking magic, increase damage by 300% and damage cap by 80,000. Enemy mind minus 25% deal damage, but non-stacking magic uses 150% more MP, and casting speed boosts are halved and capped at 40%, so basically an improved version of ultimate casting. We've seen something like this from Zeka's 4 gate, so same skill. Not anything new. And then you've got Bow Boost and Bow Mega Boost, which is weird because it gives physical damage and damage cap when she doesn't need it because she's going to be used as a mage, so it's kind of strange. But it does give crit rate, which I suppose can help a little bit. She might be like the DRs of mages. I'm not saying that she's going to be that good, but I'm just saying she might rely heavily on critical damage and critical hits. And if that's the case, I mean, there's a chance that her crits could hit hard, but I don't know. Worse than F-Zekas? Well, F-Zekas, yeah, potentially. Because the main benefit that Zeka's 4 gate has is the supportive buffs and stuff that he provides to your team, like the more damage cap to ally non-stacking magic and stuff like that. He's a decent support. Robe Giga Boost, Mind Pierce, and then the Transcend skills that she would have always had, and then the Insight skills are all completely new, so these are pretty nice. So she has more damage cap, and then more non-stacking magic damage cap, more critical damage cap, take less damage, take less magic damage, casting speed, enemy attention draw -1, and then some ice, light, and dark resistance, stun resistance, silence resistance. And then one that I think is pretty nice is Battle Start Restore 5 seconds of SCT to all allies. So, at least based on her kit, it doesn't look anything crazy, right? I think she will be useful. And the main reason why I think she'll be useful is exactly that, and that is SCT. So, she can now give 13 seconds of SCT instead of 10 or 15. It's a weird number, but she can provide more SCT than someone like Shift Nael, Summon Nael, or Shift Medine, which give 10 seconds. So she can provide 3 seconds more than those units, which can sometimes make a difference. Sometimes in specific PvP teams like guild battles and stuff, it can sometimes matter. So it's going to be nice. And if you have her, I think you're most likely going to be using her for PvP just for the SCT regen. So you could use her now for restoring the 13 seconds of SCT, and you could just build her Insight and only unlock this one Transcend skill and just leave it there if you want her to be a support, and you'll be just fine. But there is a small chance that her magic damage could be pretty high. I don't know yet, because I know for a fact that Saintly Theria is pretty strong in Arena, because she's definitely destroyed me many times. She's pretty strong when built at high SC. So I think Sea Princess Lilah could have potential, maybe, when she's fully built with Insight and a bunch of intelligence Insight boosts. Maybe there's a chance that she could hit pretty hard, similar to Saintly Theria. But we're going to have to wait and see on testing for that one, because I don't quite know. It's going to be down to testing, but let's try her out here. Don't expect too much from this showcase, because I don't even know if she's going to hit damage cap or anything yet. But I do want to show you briefly Saintly Theria's Insight, just to kind of compare them both, because they're kind of similar. So she's not going to be used as a physical damage dealer, which is sad, because I really like her animations. A dolphin, and this, like, fish. And they're all pretty cool animations. I wish she would have been a physical damage dealer instead, but I like mages too. So let's use Blizzard first, just to see what the damage is like on this. I mean, it's hitting damage cap, so that's a positive, I suppose. An absolute 0 should hit damage cap as well. There's no way it's not. Yeah, it's not bad. You know, it does remind me of Saintly Theria in a way, because the damage cap's kind of similar. Damage cap's okay, even though these spells are not the best, but I think magic damage potential so far seems alright. Ice Javelin's just going to do nothing. I mean, it still hits damage cap, but it is a weak enemy. You're never going to be using Ice Javelin because it's just terrible. And Diamond Dust. Is she worth summoning for? Well, this unit right here, definitely not, because she's a very old unit who's just getting Insight today. I do highly recommend to wait for the PvP players to test her out at maximum SE, because there's a chance she could hit pretty hard and could be useful, and I think she's going to be useful only for PvP. If you don't care at all about PvP, then just skip her completely. Don't need it. It's going to be useless. And PvE content, don't really need it. I don't think they give crystals. If the limited units provide unit souls, then they're not going to give crystals on the old ones either. Let me just finish off this, because yeah, the positive thing I can say about this is she's hitting damage cap. It's the only positive thing I can say. Are any of the summer units worth going for? Yes, but are they a must pull? No. Are they worth chasing for? Not super hard. It's more of if you care about PvP, because Summon AL is more of a PvP unit. If you don't care about PvP, then you don't need her at all. I think Summer Serra could be pretty good in PvE as a SET battery unit and support, but we have Lilah now, so I don't think she's really necessary either, so they're not, the older summer units are not worth pulling for. But now we have Lilah, which I had a thought the other day, and I was thinking I should make a video, and the title should be why everyone should build Lilah. And I thought about it, and I might make a video kind of like that, because I feel like everyone should be informed of how good Lilah is, and she's insane. Everyone should be building Lilah Insight. She's one of the better, she's the best SET regen unit, battery unit in the game, so yeah, you need a SET spell to make use of it, but yes or no. I mean, you could go through pain and suffering and use Stardust or God Heal and you know, Spirit Breath. Like, some people have done that, like Tweaks, I think, and some other players have done that. It's a possibility you could do that. You can make it work. It's just not fun. In the slightest, not fun. But, anyways, in regards to this unit Insight, she looks okay, but she's more for PvP, and honestly, really going to need testing, but she does have some potential, I suppose, for damage, because, you know, there's a lot of ice damage boost right here, right? And she has the ultimate casting, plus she has the 120% in her trait 1, so there is a small chance that she could hit decently hard, maybe. If she can hit hard with Blizzard in Arena, I'll be quite impressed. I'll say that. Lilah is just, yeah, the easiest option, but the most reliable, easiest option that everyone should build. No matter what stage of the game are you in, build Lilah. I'm probably going to make a separate video. I say it sometimes and I don't do it. Like I said I was going to make a video on SCT battery units in general, but I haven't got around to it just because I haven't had any motivation to make any type of video like that, but maybe I'll try and do a video on Lilah. Does she even benefit with a bow? No. I mean, the only benefit you get from using a bow is her paid bow. So if you have her paid bow, then obviously you're going to be using it, but if you don't have it, you don't really need a paid bow. I mean, the only thing you're going to be missing out on is 10% critical rate. So yeah, you don't really need a bow. You're much better off using a staff with staff boosts and road boosts and stuff. So that would be a lot better than a bow. I don't think she even needs it. So I want to now go and just briefly show you Saintly Theria just to compare a little bit. So Saintly Theria was a similar case where I thought she wasn't going to be any good in PvP because her damage just kind of looked, her actual kit looked kind of whatever for damage. But it turns out that some people have been able to make a very strong Saintly Theria in Arena, and it's kind of scary really. So I do want to have a brief look just to kind of compare the two, because they are a bit similar because they both have 120% attribute damage in their trait 1, and they both give SCT regen, so they're kind of a bit similar. This does have the chance for piercing though as well, but if you ignore that and just look at their kits and compare both of their kits for just damage, then it makes you question how the hell Saintly Theria managed to hit very hard. I think it's due to her, you know, 120% like damage and her paid equipments and, you know, that kind of stuff, and very high intelligence, and the fact that she has Night Geyser as well is a pretty big one too. So that's probably the reason, but I just want to briefly go over the fact that Saintly Theria probably has even less damage boosts than Lilah, Summer Lilah. So that makes me think that Lilah looks a bit better in the damage department, which is impressive. And because of this, because of the reason that compared Summer Lilah compared to Saintly Theria with their kit alone and just their damage skills that they have, it looks like that Saintly Theria has a bit less damage, and Saintly Theria can already hit pretty damn hard in Arena. So that does imply to me a little bit that there is a chance that Sea Princess Lilah could hit a decent amount in Arena because she has like more ice damage boost than Saintly Theria does, and the Ultimate Casting Cryosphere, which gives 300% instead of 200% the Ultimate Casting provides. So I think there is a chance here that if you build this unit full insight, max out their intelligence and that kind of stuff, that she should be able to hit pretty hard. I'm not crazy. I'm just going based off of Saintly Theria's, you know, performance, because I've seen her performance be pretty damn strong. So I think Sea Princess Lilah should be somewhat similar, maybe even slightly better, because she has a bit more damage in her kit compared to Saintly Theria. But she has Brute Geyser and not Night Geyser. So yeah, that's the only downside, I think. I think she could be pretty good, honestly. I think she's going to be a pretty strong mage overall. Her kit doesn't look crazy, but that is because she has the 120% here in the trait 1, and she has like a good amount of damage here and the Ultimate Casting Cryosphere. So she does have a lot of damage in here. It's just, if you look at the amount of actual skills that she has, it's not much, right? You think, oh, compared to more recent units, there's not much damage skills in here, are there? Well, compared to Saintly Theria, there's your answer, I think. So I think she has potential. I kind of want to get her and try building her and see what her magic potential is in Arena, but I don't want to waste my crystals to try and get her. I do have my ticket, so I could maybe select her with the ticket, but I was going to consider getting Summer Sarah instead. But do I need Summer Sarah? Am I going to use her? Probably not, for PvE at least. So I don't think I need her really. So if that's the case, maybe I'll get her. I'm just going to be waiting for the moments. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be using Summer Sarah at all. That's the reason. That's the thing, is I'm going to be saving the ticket for the moments. Maybe select Sea Princess Lilah. Depends. Depends what happens with my pulls and how everything goes, I suppose. Because I am still going to be doing, not right now, get that thought out of your head, I'm still going to be doing these daily gacha pulls because it's a lot cheaper and there is a chance that I could get this unit from these daily gacha pulls. So I'm going to be doing that. We've got 28 days to do these, so I'm going to hope to get one of these two from these daily gacha pulls, and that's why I'm going to save my ticket for the moment. Same story here, do the daily pull in here. There's also Sarah in here, so I'm going to save my ticket just in case I get any of those, and we'll see how it goes once other people test out her insight in Arena. But it's probably going to be a couple days or so before that happens. But yeah, I think that's everything for today. It's been over 3 hours, and it's past it's 4:20. Blaze it. It's 4:20 o'clock right now. PM. So I definitely need to do some stuff. So I do kind of want to end the stream right now, so I can get to doing other things that I need to today. So because I'm kind of busy today with some other things I've got going on. But for my conclusion for this summer event, I think it looks pretty good. Looks pretty solid. As a relatively new player, what should you select with the ticket? Well, quickly, I have mentioned that earlier in the stream, so you can always go back to that after I've ended this, because I'll be adding timestamps in about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes after I've ended the stream, so you can always go back to that. But yeah, it really depends on what you have on your account or not. It's a big discussion, but you can go back to that part once I've ended the stream. For my conclusion today, I think this summer event is pretty good. The unit and the Ark on the new banner both seem like they're pretty damn useful. I think Summer Labyreth is going to be a very useful unit for PvE content because of her ailment capabilities and the fact that she can support the team with her anima as well, giving the entire team 10,000 damage cap and 30% damage as long as the enemy has an ailment. Is going to be very good. So, and that's going to be, she's going to be probably the best ailment unit for the Battlegraph Simulator stages. So I do think she's worth trying to do a couple of pulls on, because she's going to be an amazing unit for like everyone's account, 100%. Ailments are very important in Battlegraph Simulator, and that is the main endgame content that I do, and is probably the main endgame content that people should do for the crest to try and progress their account further. So she'll be a great pull, and on top of that, this banner also has another good Ark on top of it as well, which I'm going to try to get if possible, because it has some good learnable skills in here, and this Archive reward would be quite nice on Summer Labyreth as well for more ailment status duration. Should be pretty useful. Makes stun more reliable, because then you have to, don't have to proc stun as often. So I think this is quite a good banner, but it is available for another 28 days, and we should be able to get a couple more tickets in part 2 next week. So from the event, let's hope we can get some more tickets from there. It's probably not going to be many, but I would recommend to wait for that just in case, and not spend all of your crystals yet, because there's probably going to be upcoming collabs and stuff. There's always stuff going on in this game that are coming up, but this is limited, so I think it's a good idea to do a couple of crystals at least, because it seems like a good banner in my opinion. Now, the other banners you can mostly ignore right now. I can say for a fact that these two units have been tested, and Fairy King is the best out of the two. He's quite a good tank and counter unit. He's going to be quite good on the tier list. He's going to rate pretty highly, I think, for PvP 100%, and he can be used in PvE as well because of his charisma. So I do consider him to be more valuable than Shift Ruto, and I have done testing with Shift Ruto and I have been using him. He's kind of squishy for a tank. He's not very tanky. He can be built as a physical damage dealer. The main use he gets out of being a tank is team mitigation and the 10 seconds of being immune to magic and physical attacks. After that, he just becomes very squishy. So if you were to select one of these two, I would pick Fairy King all day because he's just much better than Shift Ruto in my opinion. And counter units are just very rare. We've only got 3 in the entire game and 2 are collab limited, so this is the only Descent of Heroes and more accessible counter unit that we have available in the game. If you don't care much about PvP, then you don't really need him too much. I say if you care more about PvE, then Labyreth is going to be the one that you're going to want to try and get for sure. And then we have the Redux banners. I haven't really looked at these too much, but this really depends on what you're missing and what you have. I'm missing these, but I don't think I'm going to be doing it. I mean, 6,000 paid crystals to get a guaranteed UR arc that you don't have might be worth doing, but it really depends on what you don't have. And you do get 3 URs guaranteed, so if you're missing like every single one from here, then you're going to get 3 UR arcs guaranteed. There won't be new guaranteed because you could still get a dupe of something in there, but if you don't have many in here, then for paid crystals it might be worth considering because, yeah, there's, as you know, URs are very hard to get. And then the rest, probably skip the rest, and I already mentioned about the Redux banners. They don't really worry about these too much. I think the most valuable things on these banners are the Arks, and apart from that, you don't really need anything. These that I've selected, probably the most useful things, and also Summon AL as well, and apart from that, you don't really need anything else, so you can mostly skip that. And Demon Plate Alice has got another week left. Don't really need her, but I have to admit she is pretty damn good for a DPS in PvE, and even in PvP she's been used. When fully built, she can hit quite hard, so decent units all around, but you gotta pick the most important things, and so far the most important banner is definitely going to be this new banner, but because it has another 28 days, you can wait for the moment for more tickets and more testing. So I'm going to leave that there for today. It's been over 3 hours. I definitely need a break from this, because talking for like a solid 3 hours is always very difficult for me, but it was fun. I do have some things I need to do. I need to start building this unit. I think the main use that I'm going to get out from this unit is in the Battlegraph Simulator. I'm going to be using her in here somewhere. I'm kind of considering... Yeah, I'm 100% going to be switching out Arch being melee for her in this team. And then against this team, I was considering switching the Lelouch, but I can't because the Lelouch has EX Drain, so I can't really fit her in this team right now. But she can definitely fit in this team for sure. Wherever I'm using Arch being melee, Summon Labyreth is going to replace Arch being melee, basically, so that's going to be nice. I'll leave that there for today. I will add the timestamps in about 10-15 minutes, I think, as long as I don't have anything going on, because I do have some stuff I need to do. And hopefully, if you plan to do any summons, then you get what you plan to get, because banners in this game still suck. I'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. I don't know what it's going to be. There is a chance that in 2 weeks from now, there could be another summer banner. We don't know yet. Just going to have to wait and see. Over the past 2 years, there have been 2 summer units and 2 summer arcs. So there is a good chance that the next unit could also be another summer unit. Let's wait and see. But yeah, I'll leave it there for today. Thanks for coming. I'll add the timestamps in a moment. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.